I wish you guys knew how much I looked forward all day to clicking on your comments during the opening theme. If you're watching on a replay, you're missing out. Join us live. That's a lot of fun. Guys, welcome in. Welcome in. Welcome in. We've got a lot to cover today. I have heard your complaints. Excuse me. I've heard your comments, and we have an opening statement for you tonight. Few people have said, but Baron, where have the opening statements gone? Well, ladies and gentlemen, these shows take a lot of research to put together, and so does writing an opening statement. They don't always go hand in hand. But today, I think the opening statement is pretty good, and it lines up perfectly with what I sort of view as the big, I don't know, the big portion for today. We're going to cover a few little small things, but there's the really big podcast I want to get to because I think it's deeply dishonest. And that's kind of my takeaway. I think it's a very deeply dishonest look at Charlie Kirk, his last few days alive, his legacy, what's become of TPUSA, his wife Erica, his foreign policy. I think it's just a deeply, deeply, deeply dishonest piece. Before I get to that, I noticed I tuned into the Charlie Kirk podcast to see Blake Neff looking mildly sheepish this morning. Blake, if you're watching, sorry about that. Sorry, big guy. Don't take it too personally. But no, I thought yesterday's show was necessary. It's been coming for a while, and I just had the opportunity yesterday to, I don't know, drop a bomb on Blake's head. I'm getting so tired of these people. That's going to be a common theme today. I'm getting really exhausted with the Fed slop. Really, really exhausted with the Fed slop. It's getting to the point where I can hardly stomach it on a daily basis. These people never sleep. They don't rest. It's just nonstop, whatever it takes, whatever they have to say. And that's kind of the theme of today's opening statement. So with your continued permission, day in and day out, as I like to do, make sure you guys consent to everything we do here. That's the lesson of the 21st century, gentlemen. With your permission, ladies and gentlemen, this is your opening statement. For decades, the tobacco industry maintained a remarkable facade, mounting scientific evidence, public awareness. Even the tobacco industry's own internal research confirmed that cigarette caused cancer. They caused heart disease, emphysema, addiction. Nevertheless, executives, scientists, and lobbyists working for big tobacco publicly, at least publicly, insisted otherwise. Yes, forgive me. I've got a eyelash poking me in the eye. Looking back, we can see a clear and deliberate coordinated strategy of deception. Everyone who paid attention eventually figured out the truth. But the industry lied. And the tobacco industry lied with a chilling composure because, frankly, admitting the reality of what they faced, admitting the reality of what they knew, would destroy their entire existence. And the story begins all the way back, at least in earnest, back in the 1950s. There were independent studies coming out that undeniably linked smoking to lung cancer. It started with the 1950s British doctors study, and it made the connection pretty undeniable, at least for the medical community. And by the mid-1950s, other studies were coming out, and they were equally as horrific for the tobacco industry. In fact, they had their own confidential data. And their own confidential data, it turns out, years later we discovered, said the same thing. For example, a 1953 internal report from R.J. Reynolds that was later released decades later noted that clinical data supported cigarettes as cancer-causing. Yet, for decades after they had that report in hand, the tobacco industry would routinely and publicly and emphatically deny exactly that. On December 14th, 1953, executives from all the major tobacco companies, American Tobacco, R.J. Reynolds, a whole bunch of others, they met at New York's Plaza Hotel, and they hired a public relations firm that was known as Hill and Knowlton. And the desire was, what they needed to accomplish, they had to craft a response to this mounting pressure, these studies that were coming out. And the result was the famous frank statement to cigarette smokers. This was an advertisement kind of concealed as an article. And it was published simultaneously in 400 newspapers on the same day in January of 1954. And here's what it claimed, quote, "We believe the products we make are not injurious to health. And, quote, there is no proof that cigarette smoking is one of the causes of lung cancer," end quote. This ad reached tens of millions of people back at a time when newspapers actually had any relevance. In fact, they were the primary means people got their news back then. They would be the equivalent today of going on 400 podcasts, the top 400 podcasts, and saying the same thing. That's how many people you would reach. But it also set the tone for nearly a half century of lying to the public. Internally, they knew the truth. The truth was clear. By the late 1950s, most tobacco company scientists and almost all of the executives accepted the risk of cancer from smoking. A 1963 memo from a British American tobacco subsidiary put it rather bluntly, quote, "Nicotine is addictive. We are then in the business of selling nicotine, an addictive drug." Yet the public face remained one of denial and, crucially, manufactured doubt. In 1969, there was a memo written by Brown and Williamson, says, quote, "Doubt is our product. Doubt is our product. It is the best means of competing with the body of fact that exists in the mind of the general public. It is also the means of establishing a controversy." In other words, they didn't need to prove the cigarettes were safe. That's a tall order they weren't able to accomplish. However, if they could sow just enough doubt, enough uncertainty, that it would delay regulation or delay lawsuits or delay judgments or delay even declining sales, it would be successful. And the playbook involved several tactics. One, they funded something known as the Tobacco Industry Research Committee. And it was presented as an independent committee that would produce results that were supposed to be neutral. In other words, it was controlled opposition. This is something very common. It was controlled opposition. And it produced ambiguous results or even results favorable to the tobacco industry. They attacked studies showing harm. They funded contrarian researchers, and they promoted things like light cigarettes or low tar cigarettes as safer alternatives, even though they knew that smokers would compensate by just smoking more and inhaling it deeper. And it would negate any benefit of having lower tar in an individual cigarette. 1977 document revealed the goal was to provide consumer reassurance through perceptions of mildness. They also aggressively targeted the youth, the kids. They claimed they were not at all targeting the youth. They went in public and said, "We're not targeting kids. What are you talking about? Who's targeting kids?" But when internal documents came out later during lawsuits, it showed a deliberate and unambiguous strategy to corner the youth market. One R.J. Reynolds memo noted the need for brands to attract young smokers in order to ensure long-term survival. They even had marketing campaigns that featured cartoons. Adults don't typically follow cartoon suggestions. And they had glamorous imagery that appealed to teens. Secondhand smoke faced similar denial. Evidence mounted in the 1980s that environmental tobacco smoke is what they call secondhand smoke. It was dangerous. So the industry created a fake front group called the Center for Indoor Air Research. And wouldn't you know, the Center for Indoor Air Research, rather compellingly, began publishing results that secondhand smoke was fine. The most infamous display came in 1994. April 14, 1994. 7 different tobacco CEOs testified before Congress under oath. They were under oath, as if that matters anymore. When asked if nicotine was addictive, this is 1994. We're not talking about like the 1630s, right? We're not talking about the Pilgrims getting off the Mayflower and seeing Indians smoking for the first time. No, we're talking about 1994, like Bill Clinton was president. Kurt Cobain had an entire career and had been dead. That's how recent it was. 7 CEOs testified before Congress. Each was asked if nicotine was addictive. Each responded very similarly to, quote, "I do not believe that nicotine or our products are addictive." William Campbell of Philip Morris, James Johnson of R.J. Reynolds, and others, they all repeated variations of this denial, very tightly worded denial. And wouldn't you know, internal documents, once again, from all the way back in the 1960s, proved they absolutely knew nicotine was an addictive chemical. The testimony was broadcast widely and symbolized an obvious disconnect. The public and the lawmakers increasingly knew the truth, and the executives looked the camera directly in the eye, and they lied, and they did it without flinching. And it took whistleblowers to eventually expose this operation. A guy named Jeffrey Wigand. He was a former Brown and Williamson vice president. He took to 60 Minutes in 1996 and explained how the company had manipulated levels of nicotine in their products in order to addict their customers. This was a 1994 leak. It was thousands of Brown and Williamson documents, and it was sent to a professor at the University of California, San Francisco. And it provided pretty irrefutable evidence that these guys were, in fact, criminals. And then there were millions of more documents released later, obviously, through litigation and other ways. But we end up getting a whole bunch of documents. So by the 1990s, states began suing these tobacco companies. And they sued under a pretty novel theory at the time. They wanted to recover Medicaid costs for smoking-related illnesses. And it resulted in a master settlement agreement in 1998 where the tobacco companies agreed to pay over $206 billion. $206 billion in damages. They also agreed to things like abiding by strict marketing guidelines. No more cartoons, no more targeting the youth. They had to dissolve industry-funded focus groups like the Tobacco Institute and public research groups. They also made their internal documents public. Those are now archived at the University of California, San Francisco. But that wasn't enough. In 1999, the U.S. Department of Justice also sued the tobacco companies, this time under racketeering theory, under RICO statutes. And the judge ruled against them, against the tobacco companies. In fact, she wrote a 1,683-page opinion where she detailed a 50-year conspiracy of fraud and deception. And in the opinion, she detailed how they lied, misrepresented, deceived about health risks, addictiveness, even marketing to children. In other words, they knew the facts, they knew them for decades, and they deliberately lied, and they did it with a straight face time and time and time again. And of course, years later, they come up with corrective statements. The Department of Justice forced the companies to pay for ads that admitted they deliberately deceived the public about tobacco's dangers, the addictiveness of nicotine, this myth that light cigarettes was somehow healthier, even secondhand smoke. One line in there says, "We falsely denied that we manipulated the nicotine content to create and sustain addiction." That's a tough statement. So why do this? Why would you persist in lies when the truth is so obviously apparent? And in one word, it is survival. Admission would invite bankruptcy. Think of lawsuits, product bans, at the very least, lost profits. Smoking killed hundreds of thousands of people in the United States alone, annually. In the United States, every year, hundreds of thousands of people died from smoking. Still kills a lot. It also created lifelong addicted customers. It generated billions and billions and billions of dollars in profit, but it did it at the expense of the health and lives of the very consumers who were providing that profit. Executives faced shareholder pressure, even personal liability. And the deception, though, brought decades of additional profits. It gave them time. It bought time. It gave them time to diversify into other industries, to shift their focus overseas, because overseas regulations aren't as strict as they are here in the United States. And the human cost was staggering. It's nearly incalculable, but it's primarily suffering and death. That's the cost, suffering and death. Millions and millions of premature deaths worldwide. Many more times that number, suffering with lifelong chronic diseases like cancer, emphysema, cardiorespiratory issues. But it's just undeniable that the strategy was a resounding success. It worked. And it worked for more than a generation. Almost 2 full generations of Americans were lied to by smoking executives. Public smoking rates have since dropped from around 40% in the 1960s to around 12% today in the United States. The sad reality, though, is that none of the drop was due to voluntary industry reform. The tobacco company had to be sued into compliance. And in the end, the facade cracked, but it cracked under lawsuits and insider leaks and just shifting societal norms. People got sick of smelling like cigarette smoke all the time. But it stands as a cautionary tale about how sometimes existential stakes create a moral flexibility. Truth ends up sidelined, often for years, sometimes decades. But the tobacco industry playbook is not rare. In fact, it's pretty familiar. We'll talk about it tonight. You manufacture doubt, you attack your critics, you influence policy, and then you target vulnerable populations. The result is you survive another day. It's obviously been copied by other industries. The tobacco industry's straight-faced denial wasn't about convincing everyone forever. It was about delaying accountability for another day so that they could cash in for yet another day. So tonight we'll take a look at some clips from an interview with Frank Turek and Jack Hibbs. They're following the same playbook. They're manufacturing doubt, attack your critics, influence policy, and target vulnerable populations. They're not the only ones doing it. There are a lot of people in the Fed Slop narrative pushing the same playbook. It's just part of it. It's just what they've come to do. But first, I want to take a look at, real quickly, there was a hearing today in the Tyler Robinson case. There were only 2 real things that came out of it. And I want to just very briefly mention this. Cameras in. That's the headline. Cameras in. There will be cameras at all stages of this litigation. At least that's the plan going forward from now. Judge Graff ruled today on the defense's motion to exclude cameras, at least at the preliminary hearing level. The judge said, no, the public is invited in. If you don't like it, get over it. We're going to go forward without you if you don't want to participate. So there will be cameras. Now, the defense is appealing. They filed a notice of appeal. It's sort of, I think, perfunctory. I don't know that it'll be granted. It's an interlocutory appeal, and it has to do with a motion in limine they filed relative to hearsay statements. So they file a motion in limine. All a motion in limine means is we're going to take this up before the actual hearing date or before the trial date. It's a motion that will affect the conduct of the hearing or the conduct of the trial, but we're going to take it up ahead of time. In doing so, we're not going to waste precious judicial resources. We're not going to waste time in court while we argue over something that could have been taken up days, weeks, or months in advance. That's a motion in limine. That's the definition of it. So they filed this motion in limine saying, hey, no hearsay. You can't bring in hearsay statements in the preliminary stages. The problem with that is Utah law expressly provides that you can, in fact, bring in hearsay at the preliminary hearing level. And that makes sense that you can. I mean, honestly, it makes sense that you can. I assume the court will deny that outright. I assume the trial court won't even stay it, but they did ask for a stay while that appeal is being heard. My guess is all they're trying to do is establish an appellate way to attack this from a sort of a collateral basis later, because federally, you could argue there are certain federal guarantees that the state is abridging with this rule allowing hearsay in. For example, Crawford versus Washington says, no, confrontation means confrontation. You cannot bring in an out-of-court statement for the truth of the matter asserted if the witness is available and able to testify. The state of Utah says, we don't care what you say. And so we're going to let it in. I doubt very seriously Utah courts are going to entertain this, but I did want to bring it to your attention in case it came up. You wouldn't think I It got past me. It did not. It did not. So that's it. Cameras in. The next thing they said was, and this was kind of interesting. I was not expecting this. Two of the prosecutors, I can't remember their names off the top of my head. Two of the prosecutors, I've got it on my X feed. I don't want to pull it up right now. They went to TMZ and maybe some other, here it is, Gray and Ballard. Gray and Ballard. Two of the prosecutors, deputy county attorneys Gray and Ballard. They went to the national media to address certain statements that had come out. And the statements that came out were the ATF report, and the ATF report was pretty clear. We can't say that this bullet is tied to this gun. Like, we look at the round we recovered, or what looks to be a round. We've recovered an object from Charlie Kirk. As morbid and gruesome as that sounds, that's what happens. We've recovered an object. We did our analyses on the object. We've tried to identify the source of the object, and we can't. We cannot do it. We can't say it specifically came from that particular rifle. And the reason that's important is there's kind of a thin basis to assume that Tyler Robinson was the one who fired any rifle, much less that particular rifle. And in a murder trial, you can't just point to a dead body and say he's dead. You got to show how. You got to show a particular means by which the death was accomplished, and you have to do it beyond a reasonable doubt. You can't just have someone suppose that it's probably right. It kind of looks like it. We don't have a clear video of Tyler Robinson on the roof. Not that I've seen, not that I've heard exists. We have a little bitty grainy figure way off in the distance. They may or may not even have the little grainy firing a rifle. You might not even be able to tell he fired anything. Well, that's going to be a problem because there's reasonable doubt right there. I'm also told, I think this is public, I'm also told that Tyler was lost, or the alleged Tyler was lost from the camera for like 8 minutes. That's a problem. That's a real problem. Because if you have a guy and you're going to say, that's Tyler, that's him right there. He's walking in the building. There he goes. That's Tyler walking in. And then all of a sudden you lose him for 8 minutes. And then he pops up again, but now he's grainy and small. Can you state beyond a reasonable doubt that's the same guy? I think a jury would have trouble with that. And then finally, most anybody who looks at this wound, I mean, honestly, you catch them kind of off the record or you hear sort of them talking about it. Even Paramount and Practical, very early on in the first couple of weeks, I could show dozens of examples, I think, of him saying time and time and time again, this wound is just not caused by a 30-06, ladies and gentlemen. I just don't understand where this is coming from. Well, yeah. Well, then he gets a federal contract, and all of a sudden he loves the idea. He loves the idea of a 30-06. Oh, even Martin Luther King, I guess when you're a descendant of a can of heart giant, you can do those kinds of things. But the rest of us abide by the rules of things like physics. And that's kind of a problem. So there will be a hearing to determine whether those two prosecutors should be held in contempt. Should these two prosecutors be held in contempt? Here's why it matters. There was a gag order, and the gag order was very clear. The judge issued a gag order to all the lawyers. Issued it to other people, but let's just focus on the lawyers because these are the two who it's applying to right now. It said every lawyer may not comment on anything that goes to guilt. You may not comment on things that go to guilt, to proving your case in the public. Well, that's exactly what they did. In my opinion, that's exactly what they did. They go to TMZ, they go to CBS or some other outlet, and they say, hey, I know that this bullet can't definitively be matched, but have you considered X, Y, and Z? We got plenty of evidence. We're going to be able to prove it at trial. That's known as contempt, ladies and gentlemen. In my book, if I'm Tony Graff, I don't have a book to throw. I'm throwing the book at him. Throwing the book. Hey, Ballard, catch. And I'm throwing the book. I'll do it in court. I would make a spectacle of it. Judge Coleman would literally throw the book at him. You can read this book, Ballard, while you're sitting in the pokey in the big house. Well, not the big house, the small house, the county house. You can read the book I just threw at you. So those are really the only two things that happened today. The rest was pretty boring. I did speed watch a good chunk of it. I have no idea why. I could have just read a review. But if they don't find that's contempt, then nothing's. And we've gotten to the point where just nothing is contempt. All right. Here's what I want to do tonight. I want to force you, because I had to suffer through watching this twice, ladies and gentlemen. I had to suffer twice through the terrible misfortune of watching one of the worst podcasts I've ever seen recorded. It was so full of dishonesty, so full of misstatements of reality, whether dishonest or just mistaken, that I thought, I got to bring somebody's attention to this. So I'll set up the stage. I'll set the stage. Frank Turek was one of the people at the Utah Valley University event where Charlie Kirk lost his life. He was the guy in shooting glasses, ironically enough. He still wears them for whatever reason. But he has these glasses. They look like protective shooting glasses. Maybe he's got bad eyes and he doesn't want to, have like a bug flying him or something. I don't know, but he wears shooting glasses. So he's on a podcast. He's a noted, what's the word? Apologist. He fancies himself an apologist. Went to seminary, and he appears on a podcast with a guy named Jack Hibbs. You may not know Jack Hibbs, but in certain Christian circles, he's a big deal. He's a pretty big deal. A lot of people do know who he is. With me proving nicotine is addictive, ladies and gentlemen. I can't help. So he appears on a podcast with Jack Hibbs. Now, here's the important thing about Jack Hibbs, and we'll talk about this tonight. I'll play a little clip. I'm not going to play a whole bunch of this. I am going to play, several clips, but I try to keep them pretty short. Jack Hibbs' brother was at the event. Jack Hibbs' brother was at the event. It's a guy named Butch Hibbs. He had a white 47 hat on. He had he was one of the very few people there outside of Tyler Robinson in long sleeves. He had like a long flannel shirt on. It was 91 degrees. He looked like a total unadulterated psychopath. He might just be a weirdo, or he might be a total unadulterated psychopath. I'm not sure which. But he famously appeared in a picture with Charlie Kirk at the, I think maybe the last picture he ever took as a living, breathing human being. So they make a little small talk, they have a little intro, and then they bust in and immediately start talking about Butch Hibbs being in that last pick. And I want to play a very small clip of that because he talks about how Butch Hibbs came to be in that picture. And I have a serious question about whether or not what he's saying is true. I want to be clear. I do think dishonesty is a huge part of the Fed Slop narrative. But that doesn't mean I can identify every statement that every person says and says you're absolutely being dishonest about that. But I do think this is dishonest. I don't believe this is how the story developed. I think if it was, they would be able to demonstrate that. But let me play this very short clip here about Butch Hibbs being in the last pick, but more importantly, that's Jack Hibbs on your screen. More importantly, how Butch Hibbs came to be there.
The amazing thing that day, that the last picture that I took with Charlie, your brother was between us. Because when we got to UVU and got out of the SUV,
yeah,
he was there.
Yeah.
And Charlie took pictures with all the TPUSA kids that were lined up. And then your brother was there, and he goes, "I'm Jack Hibbs' brother."
That's why they security wanted to throw him out.
That's right. You called him a mountain man.
Yeah.
What's his name again?
What's his name again? Is there anybody who believes at this moment in time Frank Turek does not know what Jack Hibbs' brother name is? Guys, it's impossible for me to believe. Partially because I could sit here and play a reel. I'm not going to for time. But I could sit here and play a reel of Frank Turek mentioning Butch Hibbs by name over and over and over. It's like, it was the first indication to me, oh, that's what we're going to play tonight? We're going to play dumb? We're going to act like we don't know things? We're going to sit back and act like we don't know things? Second thing, I got to ask the question because this is the kind of guy I am. And I hate asking questions like this, and I'm not making a judgment when I ask the question. Let me pull this down just a second. I want to be very clear. I'm not judging anybody with the question I'm about to ask, but I have to ask it because I am insanely curious. I can't tell. Is he wearing a rug? Is that a rug? Like, is that a toupee? Is that a wig? I cannot tell for the life of me. I watched this twice, guys. It's an hour and 10 minutes long. I watched it twice. The whole time I'm thinking, man, it looks like a rug. I think it's a rug. That's a weird place to part your hair if it's not a rug. I don't care. Wear the rug. I just couldn't tell. And so I figured I would ask some rug experts. And apparently my instinct was correct. My instinct was correct. He's wigging out on us, ladies and gentlemen. When he goes to bed at night, there's just styrofoam heads all over the room. He lays down and it's just styrofoam heads everywhere with all his rugs. He just lines them up. What am I going to look like today? Which styrofoam head am I going for? Anyway, I get off traffic sometimes. But he goes through this song and dance. Oh, what's your brother's name again? What's his name? Oh, come on.
Butch.
Butch
is his nickname.
Butch, yeah, but that's not his real. What's his real name?
Burton.
Burton. Okay, yeah. And so he introduced himself, and the last picture, formal picture, that probably Charlie took was with him and me.
Here's the backstory to that.
Uh-huh.
Now he's going to tell us a backstory. I don't believe this backstory. I want to believe this because I don't want to believe that just 4 minutes and 21 seconds into the interview, he's already not telling the truth. But I don't believe what he's about to say. It doesn't add up to me.
So my brother's lived in Utah for years. And we have to make sure that this doesn't get out. But he looks like a mountain man, and he's all over the terrain.
I'm going to give you the picture. You can put it in.
You know, some people would say that he is a covert military operative for the CIA and in conjunction with the Mossad.
Who would say that? I mean, what a weird thing to say. Like, why would you say that? I mean, guys, he's just a brother. He got a beard. He wears a hat. No one's claiming that. Anyway, a weird approach, right? Whatever your name is, Jackie. Weird approach, Jackie. Nevertheless, we move on.
He loves the mountains. So he had months to reach out to me to say, hey, can you give me a chance to meet Charlie and to get a decent seat?
Mm-hmm.
But no, he calls me the night before.
Oh, yeah.
And he says, hey, can you? And I said, well, I mean, I'll give Charlie a call, but it's kind of late, and all that stuff. And I'm thinking, so I honestly reached out to Charlie. I said, Charlie, listen, my brother lives nearby. He wants to come see you. I know you got too much going on right now, but I was faithful to give you his request.
And then long story short, he made it there. So got off to a weird start. Honestly, if I'm being honest, I had high hopes for this interview. Very high hopes. I don't know what I hoped, but I had high hopes. Here I am walking around, hopes up to here. I mean, it was up to my armpits in hopes. And I'm like 5 minutes in, I'm like, oh, this is how we're going to play the game. Frank's going to act like he doesn't know your brother's name. And Jack Hibbs is going to joke that he works for the FBI and our greatest allies famed M-word intelligence company. Okay, that's how we're going to play. And then we're going to get dropped the bomb. Oh, yeah. Just the night before the event. This is how haphazard it was that the Butch Hibbs was even there. Just the night before the event, he just happens to give me a ring-a-ling, and I just happen to be available. So I answer the phone. Yes, Butch, what can I do for you? And Butch, you know how Butch is. Mountain man and all. I'm sitting there and put my rug on in case he goes FaceTime. I got to get that all prettied up. You never know what the mountain man's going to do. He's wild and crazy. And he asked me if I can get into Charlie's event the next day. What do we know about the night before? September 9th. Well, we know something was going on with his wife. He didn't sleep in his own bed. He wasn't wearing a wedding ring. Didn't have his necklace on. Had a lot on his mind. Apparently, a priest was coming by because there were some weirdos on Etsy who were putting down curses. We know that was happening. We know there was an international planning call with Israeli officials and multiple people inside the United States, including Frank Turek, including Blake Neff, including Mikey McCoy, including, I believe, Josh the Hammer. All this is going on. All this is going on, and I'm to believe, oh, it's Jack. Hold, please. Yeah, oh, Butch? Yeah, I'll see what I can do. Thanks. And then he actually did it. And Butch got up the next morning and made his way B&E, bright and early, baby. Bobtails. He's ready to go. And he shows up at UVU. I don't believe it. I don't believe that story. So you've got me off to a bad start, gentlemen. You got me off to a bad start. Like 4 things already. I'm 5.5 minutes into the program, and I'm like, oh, this is weird. All right, let me fast forward a little bit. I don't want to play the whole podcast. I roll forward because there was an interesting question, interesting set of facts that take place here. After Charlie Kirk goes down, Jack Hibbs receives 2 notable phone calls. That's interesting to me because why? Why did 2 people think to call, of all people, a preacher in California? You have a international tragedy on your hands. Your boss, your best friend, your buddy, your pal, your mentor, the leader of your organization, tragically shot, killed, taken down, bombed, whatever he was. Chaos is going on. They don't know who the suspect is. Everybody's at the hospital gathered around. And 2 separate people go, you know what we ought to do? We ought to call a preacher in California. That's what we ought to do. Jack Hibbs on the right, the one in the rug, he lives in California.
Trying to remember the sequence of things. I either got the first call from you or from Mikey. It was one or the other. It was very, very close. I do believe you were the first one.
That was after we got to the hospital.
Okay, then I got.
You see, Frankie's like, Jack, you forgot the script. Jack, you're miserable at this. Is your rug on too tight, brother? Mikey called you, and then I called you after I got to the hospital. Look how annoyed he is with this. Watch it again. Watch Frank when Jack forgets his line. It's like you go to a community theater, and the star of the play keeps going, line.
Trying to remember the sequence of things. I either got the first call from you or from Mikey. It was one or the other. It was very, very close. I do believe you were the first one.
That was after we got to the hospital.
He looks like an angry father. You told your kid, don't go to the field party. I know all the kids are going out there, the police, and then the police show up, and your son says, guess where I was, Dad? And you're like, I told you not to go to the field party. I told you the police were going to show up. He looks dejected. Jack, how many times do we have to go over the script? How many times, Jack, do we have to go over this? Mikey called you. I called you after we got to the hospital. Get it together, Jack. We're only 6 minutes into this interview, and you're already doing a miserable job with all of your lines.
Okay, then I got the first call from Mikey.
Because I was in the emergency room after we got Charlie there. I called you.
I remember what you were saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mikey called, and he said, Jack, get everyone in the world praying.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much blood.
Mm-hmm.
There's so much. And he was beside himself,
Mm-hmm.
as you can imagine.
Mm-hmm.
So you know that. You remember that detail, but you don't remember whether Frank called you from the hospital emergency room before that call? I mean, it's just, I just don't believe these people. I believe this is a desperate ploy to get out in front of a failing Fed Slop narrative and try to portray this event a certain way. And they did a miserable job, a totally miserable job. Here is the next clip I'm going to play. Do you guys remember the opening I did on cognitive dissonance? It's one of my favorite topics to talk about. I think people suffer from it quite a bit. Why I wanted to mention it. And one of the techniques when you're experiencing cognitive dissonance, and what that means is you encounter a fact and it it challenges your worldview or your belief structure or your belief system or whatever. And so you have what your mind can't hold these two simultaneous things. You know this to be true, but you also know this to be true, and they're in conflict. They're in dissonance. It's cognitive dissonance. And so one of the ways you deal with cognitive dissonance is you can invent a new reality. You can change your belief structure to match the new fact, but oftentimes belief structures are embedded and very deep and very painful to change. And so you can minimize that. You say, well, I don't really believe that. Or you can invent some new reality. And I believe that's what happens here. I believe that's an important part of what happened here, because this story has been propagated from very early on, and they revisit this frankly ridiculous notion even now.
You know, as horrific as that martyrdom was, that assassination was, we know that Charlie didn't feel a thing.
No.
He went from doing what he loved the absolute most to entering glory painlessly, instantly. And I think of the mercy of God and the goodness of God in that. But the young man we were talking about,
they can't know that. They can't know that. And not only can they not know that, it seems to be to fly in the face of known facts. Like he had a pulse in the hospital. I mean, just the fact that 30 or 45 minutes later, he still had a pulse might lead you to at least hesitate a little bit on subscribing to the notion that he didn't feel a thing. And we know for a fact he just closed his eyes and entered glory. Well, it was a pretty horrific moment. I mean, we've all seen it. I'm obviously not going to play it again. I don't think we should ever play it again on this show if I can avoid it. But the fact that they keep pushing that, it almost makes me think that they are pushing it to not try to get us to believe it, but to try to get themselves to believe it. You know, if you have to put a dog down, you ever read Old Yeller? I remember my first time. We've all read Old Yeller. Only the most heartless among us did not feel an emotional tug at the end. Spoiler alert, he doesn't make it. He doesn't make it. Old Yeller doesn't make it to the other side. Well, he might make it to the other side, but doesn't keep breathing. But we all tell ourselves when you have to put the dog down, or I had to put a dog down during COVID, and it was kind of cruel because they wouldn't let me go in with him. Apparently I'm going to give the dog COVID. It was the strangest thing. You can meet me at the door. You can interact with me while I hug my dog, but I can't sit on the other side of the room with you while you put the dog down. Whatever. So I go and I hand the dog off. And you know what I've told myself to this day? She didn't even know what happened. Because I'd taken her to the vet before. There you go. They get their nails clipped. They get checked up. Maybe they get a little down in the dumps and they stick a Q-tip in the rear end to see if they got some sort of disease. I've been to the vet with the dog, so I just have told myself all these years later, the dog wasn't scared at all. She was looking forward to the vet, and then all of a sudden, lights out. Didn't know a thing happened. How do they know that about Charlie? It was a pretty horrific moment, ladies and gentlemen. It looked horrible. Clenching and jerking and, eyes doing crazy stuff. I don't think you can state definitively he didn't feel a thing. But I think if you have to put the dog down, you try to convince yourself he didn't feel a thing. That's all I'll say about that. All I'll say about the potential motivation these guys have for this. Now, I want to play this next clip because it tells me more about these gentlemen than it does about Charlie Kirk. But they're trying to tell us about Charlie Kirk, and they're trying to build him up a little bit. Short clip on how smart Frank is.
19-ish is probably when he really realized that a Christian should be a Christian 24/7, 365.
I think I cut the first part off. He's talking about 2019, and that's an important date. I'll come back to that in a second. 2019-ish is when Charlie realized that you're a Christian all the time, even in politics. That's what he's saying.
360 degrees, every area of life. Yeah. And he reached out to me in January of 2020 saying he had been watching our videos and was blessed by them. Could we meet? And so we met that shortly thereafter, and wanted me to mentor him in Christian apologetics. And as you know, Jack, it could be difficult to mentor someone smarter than you, but not in Charlie's case. You know, the few things I didn't know, he wanted to know.
The few things you didn't know, he wanted to know. Have you ever heard anyone talk about themselves that way? The few things I didn't know. I know almost everything. There are very few things I don't know, but those few things, Charlie wanted to know. So I went and learned those last few things I didn't know, so that I could, of course, transmit that over to Charlie, because that's the kind of guy I am. I'm Frank Turek. I wear shooting glasses. That's the kind of guy I am. But I want to go back to that date, 2019, because I think that's the date pretty much that Charlie's life was already gone. It just took until 2025 for him to realize it. Because this transformation he's talking about, where a Christian can be a Christian in all aspects, they're supposed to be a Christian in all aspects of their life, in politics, in government, in all this stuff. Basically what they're doing is they're saying the role of Charlie Kirk was not just to have a campus organization that promoted free market economics. That's what they were doing prior to 2019. But it was in 2019 when Charlie realized that he should get into the business of preaching, that he should get into the business of Jesus, and that he should get into the business of greatest allying. That's what this all comes down to. If you watch this whole podcast, I'm not going to show the whole podcast, but if you watch the whole podcast, you'll see the whole thing is about how everything should revolve around our greatest ally and how that's the most important thing. And that's what Charlie loved more than anything, was our greatest ally. It's the whole thing is propaganda. Not even going to play that part. You guys, if you're interested, you can go watch it. But I wanted to play that part because it was in 2019 when these people started approaching him. It was also in 2019 when he married his wife, Erica. 2018, he meets her. I think 2019, maybe 2020, it's 2020, I guess they get married. 2019, they sort of come out of the closet as dating each other. And then they get married. But this is during this whole period of time where this massive approach is being made to turn TPUSA into a pro-greatest ally organization, a pro-Christian all the time, pro-greatest ally organization. In other words, we have this great untapped potential. We have all these Christians in America, and we have our greatest ally over here. If we could just leverage the organizations that can reach these people and have them support these people, boy, we'll really be cooking with grease. And I believe that's what was happening, because Erica Kirk made several approaches to try to get into TPUSA. 2015, famously, she says, she calls, maybe Tyler says, I can't remember who said it, but she calls TPUSA when Donald Trump announces he's running and saying, how can I help? What do you mean, how can you help? Who the hell are you? Who the hell are you? You don't even live here. Like, what? You live in New York. Why do you want to come back to Phoenix, Arizona for a rally of a recently announced president? What a weird request. Well, but she made it. And of course, Tyler Boyer, family friend of Erica Kirk, puts her on the stage right behind Trump, and she famously is playing with like an 8-year-old kid. We still don't know who the 8-year-old kid was. But then in 2018, they moved the organization to Phoenix. They have the opening, and to hear Erica Kirk tell the story, at least some of the time, she doesn't tell the same story every time because that's who she is, but some of the time she tells a story where she was there to get a job. She thought it was a job interview. They've been talking about opening up a faith component at TPUSA. That's what he's talking about. That's the faith component. That's the whole thing he's talking about right there. That's the faith component. Be a Christian 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I agree with that. You should be. But does that mean every endeavor you get into has to become a gospel acclamation? It has to become a proselytization mission? No, it doesn't mean that at all. Like if I'm a computer coder and I work for a dermatologist office, yeah, be a nice guy, you know, have your Christian values exude off of you as you do your work. But does that mean like I have to work Christian talking points into the code? No. What a weird concept. But that's what they're suggesting is Charlie needed to work his Christian faith into TPUSA. Well, why can't it just be a nonprofit about economic principles? Why does it have to be a nonprofit about economic principles and Christian support for our greatest ally? Why is that required? Well, we learn later why he lost his life over it. Because as soon as he started backing out from that commitment, that's when he lost his life. Now, let's go to this next one, because I think in a way he doesn't even realize he's talking about Erica, but he is. You guys notice how suavely I'm showing you every clip and I'm not watching any of them by myself? You guys realize how far the show has come? There was a time when half of these clips you'd have just been watching me watch it. Not anymore. No. This is a top-notch outfit. It's a high IQ outfit, ladies.
I've been waiting for somebody like you for 30 years. When I went to seminary 30 something years ago, I said, where is the guy out there who is so connected in the secular world, but will never compromise on the gospel and will ensure that the two go together, that he wants to influence the secular world with the gospel politically, culturally, morally, socially. He wanted to do that. And you see Christians in politics all the time, and they mention God in a kind of an ambiguous way. They kind of sidestep Jesus. They sidestep the gospel.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Are they talking about Erica? Like, did they not realize they're talking about Erica? Sort of sidestep Jesus, sidestep the gospel, talk about God sort of ambiguously. Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever listened to your new CEO? No offense. I mean, I'm not saying, again, it's the charter of TPUSA is economic liberty. It doesn't mention Christianity. In fact, it says that they're going to be religion neutral and politically neutral. That's what the charter says. So if you want to say she's following the charter better than TPUSA charter had been followed in years, okay. But if you were just saying how Charlie's main deal was he just worked the core of the gospel right into absolutely every statement he made on behalf of TPUSA and how great that was. And these people, they don't even mention Jesus' name. They talk sort of ambiguously about the Lord. He's just sort of this ephemeral concept. He just sort of goes and... Do you want to be the one to tell him? I don't know. I mean, who should tell Frank? Who should tell Frank, hey, cut this part out of your spiel in the future? You're sort of stepping on her toes. You're sort of going right after her. All right, so we've established they're talking about Erica. Now, I want to get to this next clip. We're going to fast forward several minutes here. They get to the first real description Frank gives of the night, a couple of days before Charlie passed. And he starts out by talking about a pattern in practice. They have this pattern in practice when Frank visits Charlie in Phoenix. He and Erica put the kids to bed, and then they go for a walk. Now, you'll notice he does not say, and so on this night, the night before Charlie passed, or 2 nights before Charlie passed, he does not say, on that night, the same pattern in practice prevailed. Erica and Charlie put the kids to bed, and then Charlie and I went for a walk. He doesn't say that. I think there's a reason he doesn't say that. We're being honest with each other. But he doesn't say it. I want you to listen. You got to listen carefully or you may get past you. You might let this word sleuthing, this sleight of hand, it might catch you off guard. It did not catch me off guard, ladies and gentlemen. No. You can't get that past me, Frankie. All right, I'm going to cut it. Oh my gosh, did I do it? Oh no, I just said I wasn't doing it anymore. Oh, you are kidding me. I was just bragging that this doesn't happen anymore. Oh my gosh, I'm humiliated. This used to be a high IQ outfit. There was a time when this was a high IQ outfit. That time was minutes ago. These days, this is just any old hack can do what we do here. Any old hack can pull this off. This is garbage hour, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even know why we bother meeting together like this. This is the Lord having a great sense of humor. Now, you go get haughty, sir. You go get prideful. We'll show you. All right, now back to the discussion at hand.
Together, and then after he and Erica put the kids down, he'd say, hey, let's go on a walk. And we do this every time I was in Phoenix. And the last walk we had.
See, he says this is our pattern and practice, and then he just says the last walk we had. He did not say that pattern and practice prevailed on that fateful night. No, he didn't say that. He just said, oh, and then the last walk we had. Notice the sleight of hand there, trying to act like Eric is there. But now listen to how he describes this walk.
Was Monday night. The murder happened on Wednesday. And we probably walked for 90 minutes, always with a 300-pound bodyguard behind us, armed bodyguard. We'd walk around his neighborhood. And there are three things we talked about that night, Jack.
So he talks about three things. I'm for the sake of cutting the amount we have to clip from them, because I do use this in fair use. I mean, this is under copyright rules. This is fair use. We're making commentary. We're adding, but I don't want to just play the whole thing. But he says they talked about three things. The first thing they talked about, he says, was government and Islam and the Muslim dilemma, because of course that's what they say they talked about. I don't know whether they talked about that at all or not. But he goes into this long thing about how this was a deep concern to Charlie. Again, what are we setting up? That Charlie's true love was our greatest ally. His true fear was those dadgum Muslims. That was what he's trying to set up. So that's the first topic. Second topic, the resurrection. Fair enough. I don't know why Charlie needs to bone up on the resurrection. He'd been having these tent appearances for quite a long time. The resurrection is sort of the foundational principle of Christianity. You think a guy as smart as Charlie would know Jesus rose? Before they changed the liturgy in the Catholic Church, 10, 12 years ago, there used to be that part where they say, Christ has died, Christ is risen, Christ will come again. They don't say that so much anymore. They changed the words a little bit, but the sentiment is the same. So the resurrection's got, came, died, rose. That's like fundamental Christianity. Like, you either get it or you don't. If you don't, you're kind of out. And so I don't know why that was something he said they had to focus on this walk. But the third thing, and this is what I really want to drill down on. I wanted to give you the context of when he was having this conversation with Charlie. But the third thing is he talks about going on this walk, and they talked about women. They talked about women. Not in the way a lot of boys talk about women. No. But they had to talk about women. Tell us, Frank, in your best recollection, what was the concern with the chicks, with the ladies?
Then the last thing we talked about, Jack, and we were doing laps on the top of his building talking about this. He was really concerned that his generation was not embracing marriage. The men were, the women were not.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm glad the men are moving in marriage's direction, but the women are not. And why are they going to listen to me?
Yeah.
And everybody out there who is a woman talking about this is a career woman.
Yeah.
They're a what? They're a career woman? So
they could see the mild contradiction.
Exactly.
So
they could see the mild contradiction of a career. So you're saying Charlie's final conversation on his final walk with you, the final topic, was that women were not getting married because the women who were promoting marriage were career women, and Charlie didn't approve of, like, he thought that was a problem, but he somehow insisted publicly to anyone who would listen that he wanted his wife to be a career woman. I mean, it's so bad. I almost wonder if Frank's kind of submission here is to trash Erica, like to undermine Erica as the head of TPUSA. She doesn't talk about Jesus. She doesn't talk about the gospel very well. She just sort of ephemerally mentions the big fella. And those dadgum career women, those dadgum career e-girls out there, e-trad girls that are frankly not trad. I get it. I mean, I had the same complaint. I have the same complaint. You look at any of these lineups of these conferences or these e-trad girls who are promoting the e-trad life, none of them are e-trad girls. Like that's pretty obvious. Like Alex Cooper, not Alex Cooper. I keep saying Alex Cooper. What's her name? She blocked me on Twitter, so I can't look her up. Alex, whatever her name is. Alex portrays herself as this this trad girl. She's not married. She doesn't have kids. She's like in her mid-30s. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's hard to portray yourself as a trad wife when you're not a wife and you're not a trad. And that's what he's saying. He's saying the whole point is the women can sense the hypocrisy. They can sense the contradiction. Alex Clark. What's an e-trad? An e-girl is an online girl. The trad girls are the girls that are promoting the traditional life, you know, marry young, have lots of kids, stay at home, raise your kids, homeschool. Those are trad girls. So you combine the two. You got an e-girl who's a trad girl. And the e-girl is promoting the trad lifestyle. The problem is most of the girls online, what he's saying, and this is his words, not mine, and apparently these were Charlie's words, not his. But the problem is most of the women promoting this lifestyle don't live the lifestyle. They don't live the lifestyle. In other words, women can sense the hypocrisy. They can sense the contradiction. They don't like it. They don't like being told how to live by someone who doesn't live that way. It's undermining Erica. Speaking of Erica, he now goes on to give us, I think he realized what happened because I'm not fast forwarding. I'm not skipping ahead here. I'm just going to play what came next. So he sits there and he trashes basically Erica. And then I think he realizes it. You can sense it in his eyeballs when he clicks and he sees what happens. And he goes on this like 30-second word salad where he tries to back out of the hole he's dug for himself and promote Erica. You tell me if this makes any sense. This is 39 seconds of word salad trash.
We didn't come up with a solution to that problem that night.
Again, the problem is that the career girls are the ones telling people to live trad lives, traditional lives. So he's saying right now, you can see the look on his face. We didn't come up with a solution to that. Oh my gosh, I just trashed Erica. Let me get out of this.
But ironically, it could be that Erica, once this trial is over and all this nonsense that's being talked about with conspiracy theories goes away, hopefully it will, she's going to be the one that women are going to look to and say, wow, look at how she has handled herself through all this with grace and elegance. And all she wanted to do was take care of her children. Mm-hmm. And she's still taking care of her children, even though she's doing what her husband wanted her to do.
Did that make any sense to you? Like, is there a single person who was like, yeah, Frank, I understand exactly what you're saying. Thank you. Well put, Frank. Well put, Frank. I appreciate you clarifying this problem. So what you're saying is the career women that you said Charlie described them as career women in careers, are out there promoting the traditional lifestyle, which they don't live. But Erica, even though she is now like the ultimate career woman, the CEO of a massive organization, keeping up a very high profile, somehow the women who sense the contradiction when Alex Clark tries to promote the trad life are going to look at Erica and say, even though but because of what she went through, because Charlie went, huh? What, bro? What? What are you talking about? That, my friends, is an example of someone who's not very smart, despite what he said earlier. He knows everything. Trying to dig himself out of a hole in real life. You just watched real-time hole digging. Trying to dig himself out of a hole in real time. Now, this next one is interesting because he goes right to the 50-minute Zoom call that they had the night before he passed away. So the walk was on Monday night, where he's bashing the E-Trad girls. That walk was on Monday night. Tuesday night, he passes away on a Wednesday. So Tuesday night is the final night he's alive. Frank is still with him. Frank was with him all Monday night, all Tuesday night, and then traveled with him Wednesday morning. One could be convinced Frank was sent to sort of keep him occupied between his arrival from Korea and his departure to Salt Lake City. One could be so convinced. I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm just saying reasonable people could come to that conclusion. It's a lot of Frank, in other words. More Frank than I want. So now Frank goes to the infamous Zoom call. I was always under the impression the Zoom call took hours. He tells us it's only 50 minutes. You can barely introduce yourself on a Zoom call in 50 minutes. It leads me to believe this wasn't some meticulous planning session. How much can you learn in 50 minutes about international relations and support for our greatest ally and how to handle questions and all this? We're told this was like a mega planning session. Charlie needed, I got to hear from Josh Hammer. If I don't hear from Josh Hammer and I go on this tour, I'll have no idea what to tell people when they ask me questions. Someone get Josh Hammer on the phone. Well, they got Josh Hammer on the phone. He's described here as a Jewish American as Israel influencer or something. I'm not sure which it was, but he'll explain it here.
The thought, because the next day, so Monday night, we're out on a walk. Next day, September 9th, Charlie calls a meeting, a scheduled Zoom meeting with two officials in Israel, one Jewish defender of Israel in the United States.
Can you imagine if you're Josh Hammer and that's the label they put on you? Jewish defender of Israel in the United States. Oh, also editor-in-chief at Newsweek, in case you wonder what you're reading over there.
I'm in the room with Charlie. Blake's in the room. Mikey's in and out. What do you think we're talking about, Jack?
I know.
We are talking about how the propaganda war against Israel is gaining ground, even though it's all lies and deception. And Charlie is asking these guys, how can I better defend the truth regarding Israel? You guys help me with that.
That's right.
I was in this meeting. It lasted 50 minutes. This idea that Charlie was giving up on Israel is false.
I mean, other than the fact that he sent a text message saying he was left with no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. Other than that, Frank, I probably would have bought your story. I might have believed it, Frank. I might have believed that Charlie, in a fit of desperation, the final night of his life, is summoning Josh Hammer and a couple of rabbis or government officials from Israel. We're not sure which. We're not sure what kind of officials, religious officials, government officials. And the inimitable Mikey McCoy. And Blake Sneff. Blake Neck Speed. And for 50 minutes, he proclaimed his love for our greatest ally. And he's just in desperate need of additional information. Because this guy who went on college tours and faced this question day in and day out had no idea what to say. But in 50 minutes, just 50 short minutes, he could be set free. Guys, 50 minutes is shorter than one class period in high school. Class period at Brentwood High School was 54 minutes. This guy was 50 minutes from the beginning of the Zoom call to the end. My question, Frank, did anybody think to record the Zoom call? It's a very simple thing. I mean, you click a button and then it starts recording. Did anybody record it? I'd love to hear it. Think about it. Charlie's final educational session. Proclaiming his love for our greatest ally. What better thing to put this to sleep than a transcript of that call or the call itself? Since you guys seem to be making up words and putting it in his mouth. I'd love to see his face on the call. Scheduled Zoom call. 50 minutes. Less than one high school algebra class. Gonna set him straight. And if there was no text message saying I'm left, like literally from a few hours before that, I'm left with no choice but to leave the pro-Israel cause. I might have believed, Frank. I might have believed you for half a second. I might have looked through your shooting glasses into your eyes and fallen in love with your position. But I have the text message, Frank. I have the text message. He was left with no choice but to leave the cause, Frank. Those are his words. I don't have to guess about what he said on that text message. I can read them. I don't have to guess. Like I have to guess what he said on the Zoom call. It's just nonsense. It's just nonsense. I'm not going to play the whole 20-minute love fest they have for Our Greatest Ally, but I do want to give you just a flavor of it, just a small piece of it here, because I think it sets up what this podcast is really all about and what their fear really is. And frankly, why Charlie's dead. Not to be morbid, but he's dead. And he's dead because of the conversation they're about to have. And this conversation went on for 20 straight minutes. 20 straight minutes. These gentlemen talked about this topic. I'm going to play you like 6 seconds of it, because that's all you need.
If God doesn't keep his promises to Israel, then we have no promises as a church.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. That's all you need to hear, because they go on that same topic for 20 solid minutes. And he summed it up with his thesis sentence right there. If God doesn't keep his promises to Israel, then we have no promises as the church. Loosen your rug up, buddy. He kept the promise. The promise was he would give them a Messiah. And the Messiah would rule the kingdom. Some people rejected that Messiah. They didn't recognize him. They didn't follow him. And so the religion went on without them. That's what happened, Rug Boy. That's what happened. That's it. The fulfillment of that old religion was in a man named Jesus. And he hung on a cross because they rejected him. He was betrayed by a guy named Judas, of all names. That's weird. Robert wasn't available. What, you think God's up there planning? He's like, let's call him Robert. No, not Robert. Richard? No, not Richard. He's up there with the assembly, the hosts, the heavenly host. And they're like, what name should we give this would-be deceiver? Let's call him Bill. No, not Bill. Let's call him Judas. But Lord, why shall he be called Judas? Well, that'll become apparent down the road, guys. Let's see what happens. Let's see how this turns out. Well, we know how it turned out. They absolutely rejected him. So this whole notion, they have a 20-minute discussion about how God screwed up and had to come up with a plan B. And the God, you couldn't figure it out. He wasn't a very powerful God. And he had to come up with a plan B. And the plan B was, I'll go ahead and fulfill the religion. I'll give them the Messiah they asked for. But at the same time, ladies and gentlemen, I guess I'll give them a free pass when they reject the Messiah I give them. I guess I'll let them have it anyway. Kind of cheapens the Messiah, if you're being honest. It'd be like God at the end going, I was just kidding about that sin stuff. You didn't take that too seriously, did you? Come on. Live a little. Have some fun. I was just kidding, guys. I didn't really mean it. Sin, Messiah, what difference does it make? Now, this isn't the only dishonesty they portray here. After they have their 20-minute greatest allygasm, they go on to talk about another deeply, deeply, deeply dishonest characterization of what happened the day Charlie passed away. And I want to play it, and then I want to show you the actual text messages they're talking about. You'll notice they don't put those text messages on the screen, the ones they're talking about. I will put them on the screen because they don't say what these guys say they say. Say. That was a good song. All right. Take it away, Frank.
Morning in the car. Charlie gets footage on his phone of the crowd. He shows it to me. I'm looking at it. It's like an amphitheater.
I know where you're going.
I literally said to him, I said, Jack,
You told me this.
I don't like, I said to him, Charlie, I don't like this place. There's too many buildings.
So what we did was we packed up the car. We told Charlie that wasn't a good idea. Everybody had a bad feeling about the place. We didn't have the event. Charlie lived, and he's just been on vacation the last few months. Is that what happened, Frank? Is that what happened? You took his safety and his security seriously? I'll let you finish. I didn't mean to stop you, Frank.
And he just shrugged it off.
Oh, no. That's not what happened? You let him go out there?
Because he's brave.
Yeah.
He's not going to call off the event. His security team was there. They had coverage from the Utah University Police and some of the Utah State Police that they had the roofs. After this happened, I saw from Dan Flood the text that said, we got the roofs.
No, you didn't. I'll show you the text that you saw because that's not at all, frankly, what was said. And I think this dishonesty is so indicative of how lousy these people truly are. I mean, what that they will sink to absolutely. There's no depth to which they won't sink to try to cover their own rear end. So this was Sean Ryan talking about the message exchanged. It was first revealed on his show. This is the green. This is Dan Flood. This is Charlie's personal security from TPUSA. I will read it. We will explain it. I've done this before, but this myth obviously persists. So we will go back to the elementary basics of logic and rational thought and the English language, because apparently that's out of touch from the guy who knows almost everything, Frank Turek. Dan Flood writes to the chief, the deputy chief at UVU, quote, "Hello, Chief Long. We received this message today from the student group. Quote, there is student roof access pretty close to where Charlie Kirk will be set up at Utah Valley. The Sorensen Student Center has a couple of staircases that go up to the walkways on the roof. So there is access to the roof pretty close to where Charlie will be. Access pretty close to the roof where Charlie will be. Well, let's take a look at this because we got to get a good fundamental understanding of what's happening here. So this is the menorah where Charlie was sacrificed right here. This is the pentagon shape or whatever this is. Looks like home plate. The Sorensen building they're talking about, that's this white building right here, this white roofed building with this little overhang. This is the Sorensen building. What they're saying is there's roof access, and that they're correct. If you come out of this door right here, you can walk on this white walkway over to this red walkway, and you're still at ground level here, but then you can follow this walkway, and you will be directly above Charlie Kirk. See how that works right there? So this is the Sorensen Center. This white building, this white roof is the roof of the Sorensen Center. This is the walkway of the Sorensen Center right here. You would walk around. Oh, that's not correct. That's the, where am I here? Yeah, that's correct. This is the walkway right here, this white checkered thing here. You would walk around and you will be on this red walkway. This red walkway leads right above where Charlie Kirk is. This is the roof access from the Sorensen Center. Now, lest you think they're talking about the Losi Center, let's go to the other side of the Sorensen Center. Same deal. This is the white checkered walkway. You walk out of this, you are not on a roof. You're on ground level. This red walkway is on ground level. You'd have to go up to get to the roof of the Losi Center building. So they obviously were not talking about this building. The roof near where Charlie would be is this roof right here. This roof is accessed from the Sorensen building right here. So let's go back to the text message and see what are they talking about. There is student roof access pretty close to where Charlie Kirk will be set up. Yes, correct, right above his head. Student roof access, that red walkway right directly above Charlie Kirk's head. And just to be clear, they put a parenthetical reference here so that nobody can be confused about what roof they're talking about. The Sorensen Student Center has a couple of staircases that go up to the walkways on the roof. Yes, that's correct. We just showed you that. And so the chief writes back and says, you want access to the roof? Now, granted, he says this a little bit like it's in Spanish, right? You make the statement, but you kind of uptalk at the end and put a question mark. But we can read into the English of this. Do you want access to the roof? Or are you telling me you want access to the roof? Is that what you're telling me? You want access to the roof? Do you want access to the roof? So here's how Dan Flood replies to, do you want access to the roof? Or are you telling me you want access to the roof? I was told students have access above us. Well, that's correct. Above us. This roof is above them. This is the menorah down here, right there. And if you go above them, you're on this roof. They have access above us. They're clearly talking about that walkway right there. I was told students have access above us. If this is true, it would be nice to have either. Now, this is an either or statement, guys. This is either or. So in logic, that means one or the other of these would satisfy our request. It would be nice to have either have it controlled access. So that's one option. Make it, block it off. That's one option. Block it off. The other option is, or allow one of my guys to be there as well if possible. So going back to the roof, what he's asking is, can you block off this area here above them that can be accessed from the Sorensen Center right here? Because it's above them. Can you block it off, please? Or, that's one option, block it off. Or, can you let one of my guys be up there? And the chief says, I got you covered. So the ways he could have covered him was he could have blocked off that area, or he could have allowed a TPUS guy to be up there. Those are the options. Either one of those would get you covered. So let's go to former Congressman Jason Chaffetz, who put up a post from the event, obviously before the tragedy struck. And here is an image. You can see both satisfied. There's yellow caution tape blocking off the area above them, above us. The roof above us has been blocked off with yellow caution tape. We later learned they created a temporary trespassing zone, something only the police could do. A private party cannot make a temporary trespassing criminal zone. So they made a temporary trespassing zone there. And if you look closely, there's a TPUSA guard on that roof. There's a TPUSA guard up there. I'll show you another angle. You can see the yellow caution tape right there. See that? How the kids are pushed back behind there? That's a temporarily controlled access. He gave them everything they wanted. He didn't just give them one of the two things. He gave them both. So you go back to the text message that they keep propagating this lie, and it shows how deeply and utterly dishonest TPUSA and their supporters are. There's student roof access pretty close to where Charlie Kirk will be set up. The Sorensen Student Center has a couple of staircases that go up to the walkways on the roof. You want access to the roof? I was told students would have access above us. If true, it'd be nice to have either controlled access or one of my guys there. The chief says, I got you covered. And the way he had them covered is he controlled the access to the roof above them, accessible by the Sorensen Center, and he allowed them to put one of their guys up there. Now, one thing I think is lost in this whole discussion, and I want to go back to this for just a second, because I think this is diabolical. Imagine there had been a bunch of students standing right here. You've got a bunch of students standing right above Charlie Kirk. They're standing right here. His tent is just below this area here. See, his tent is here. and you have no controlled access. See, they blocked all this off. But let's say they hadn't blocked it off and you had hundreds of students gathered up here. Has anybody stopped and wondered what would have been in the line of sight of all of these students? You see this area up here, right here? That's where the alleged shooter was hanging out for 8 minutes. In this area up here. This area over here. He hung out up there for 8 minutes, allegedly. And then he scampered across the roof and got in a prone position right there. Imagine if there had been people standing right there. Well, they would have had a perfect view of that, wouldn't they? They would have been able to see the shooter scurry into position, but because they were blocked off, they were pushed down here where the trees in the Sorensen Center blocked them off, or over here where this tree blocked them off. What an interesting set of circumstances that is. What a terrible set of coincidences. In other words, had they not blocked that area off, Charlie Kirk might very well be alive. Because one of the hundreds of students might have gone, hey, directly in my line of sight, because of my convenient positioning directly above Charlie Kirk's tent. I can see there's a man dressed in all black, and he looks like he's wielding a weapon, getting into the shooting position. Clear the stage. Everybody run for your lives. I mean, it's a better read of it than, he told us he had the roof covered. No, he never said that. He never said he had the Sorensen Center, the Losi Center roof covered. It's just absolutely 100% not true. Absolutely 100% not true. Now, back to our favorite friend here. Because now they get to tell us who's a real Christian and who's not. And this is always my favorite discussion. I love it when people tell me who is and isn't a Christian. I get emails about this all the time, if you don't believe me.
As you well know, but this is for the viewers and listeners, Jack, that Jesus and the apostles called Satan a murderer, liar, an accuser, and slanderer who wants to steal, kill, and destroy.
All those things.
We had a murder on 9/10. What have we had since then? Lies, accusations, and slanders.
Just like you did with the chief moments ago. You lied about the chief's text message, what it said, what it meant. You accused the chief of not covering the roof and therefore letting Charlie Kirk die. And then you slandered him. Lies, accusations, and slander. Yeah, I agree, Frank. That's tough. The apostles would have been very disappointed in your performance.
Seeking to steal, kill, and destroy.
Yeah.
And people don't believe in the demonic? Jack, how could it be more obvious?
Yeah.
I agree, Jack. I agree, Frank. I agree. 100%. That is demonic.
Exactly.
They're attacking a widow.
Oh, it's always the widow. It's always the widow. Ladies and gentlemen, I hate to be the one to bring it to you. No widow in the history of mankind has ever done anything wrong. That's just a fact. No widow has ever been accused of telling a lie. No widow's ever been accused of stealing, plotting, scheming. None. Widows get a free pass. Did you know that? It's true. I hate to be the one to tell you. It's a dead honest truth.
And they don't care.
A widow.
Not only attacking a widow in her grief, an assassination, martyrdom. I say that because so many of them claim to be Christians. That's impossible.
Yeah, they're
Jack, don't judge. No. I am supposed to judge in the way of fruit inspection.
That's right.
I know this. The Holy Spirit who dwells within a Christian would never allow those kinds of words or actions. No. He will not allow his kids to be like that.
The Holy Spirit will not allow you to accuse a widow of anything. So we go back to the Corey Richins murder in Utah. Those prosecutors were not Christians. They couldn't have been, because those prosecutors stood up there for weeks, months maybe, and made the case day after day after day that Corey Richins was guilty of murder. That's what they did. That's what they did. They accused a widow. And Frank and Jack have just told us that you can't be a Christian and accuse a widow of any wrongdoing. So thank you. I'm glad we're clear. I love their moral authority. Now, I'm getting towards the final clips I'm playing here. This is one of my favorites because I found out all this alien talk from the White House might have actually to do with the Charlie Kirk case. It might have to do with the Charlie Kirk case.
Conspiring to take out Charlie.
Because it couldn't have been a person who had been indoctrinated into cultural Marxism and transgenderism who was upset that Charlie was speaking the truth and that he wrote and eat this fascist on his bullet when he shot him. That's just too simple. There's got to be an integrated big conspiracy theory that this guy was just a patsy, apparently.
Exactly right.
Now, if that were true, Jack, if that were true, he's not really guilty, Tyler Robinson. Don't you think his parents would be screaming right now? You got the wrong guy. He's innocent. They turned him in. Don't you?
They were exactly.
Yeah. Don't you think he would be screaming right now? I didn't do it. I mean, this is just.
It's possible.
Anything's possible, Jack. It's possible. Aliens may have done it.
Could have been the aliens, guys. Could have been the aliens who did it. That's where we are now. Could have been the aliens. I don't know. Could have been the aliens. Either the aliens or Tyler Robinson. There is no in between. The fallacy of the excluded middle just goes right past these guys. Just goes right past them. I think it's a mischaracterization of how the justice system works. Tyler Robinson, I don't know if he did it or not. I don't think he did. I don't think he pulled a trigger from the Losi Center on Granddaddy's 30-06 and killed Charlie Kirk. I don't think so, and that's what he's accused of done, so I don't believe he did that. I don't know if he did anything else, but I don't think he did that. But he would not be the first person who's innocent of the crime he's been charged with to remain silent. His parents wouldn't be the first people to remain silent and follow the instructions of their attorneys that they entrust with their child's life. So I don't think you can draw a big conclusion out of this. This is a really weird situation where they say, if the criminal defendant doesn't do these things, then he's guilty. I asked a very obvious question. Let's say he did. Let's say Tyler Robinson in his next court appearance goes, I didn't do this. You guys know that, right? You got the wrong guy. I did not climb the Losi Center roof. I did not take out Granddaddy's 30-06, and I did not shoot Charlie Kirk. You've got the wrong guy. And let's say his parents said, hey, we didn't turn him in because we thought he did it. We turned him in because he thought he was in grave danger. And we wanted to make sure he was safe, and we trusted the local sheriff to keep him. Let's say both of those things happened. Is Frank going to go on with Jack and say, I've been looking at this case all wrong. Maybe he didn't do it. Or would he say, well, of course that's what a guilty person's going to say. Of course they're going to say he didn't do it. Of course the parents are going to say he didn't do it. Because of course they want what's best for their child. I think that's probably what would happen. And so this is one of those situations where they've made up their mind and no set of facts is going to change their mind. No set of facts is going to change their mind unless you believe someone other than Tyler Robinson may have done it. Lest you believe it, let's hear what we think of our dear friend Erica, the one they accidentally trashed on at least 2 occasions already. But I'm not going to play it over here until I pull it up on the screen because I would never do such a thing. That's amateur stuff.
I'm trying to remember if I heard him say something wrong. I'm trying to remember if he said something rude to somebody. I cannot remember if Charlie was short or in a bad mood. I don't remember Charlie ever hurting someone's feelings. Of course, he was not perfect. But I've never seen him flub up.
And I've never seen any of that out of Erica either. And
are you kidding me? You've never seen any of that out of Erica? Oh, I'll let you continue, Frank.
She has taken the most heat and has to live with the worst event imaginable. And she forgives Tyler Robinson at the memorial service only 9 days later. I mean, she's a superhero.
Only in Christ can that happen.
Yes.
And
guys, She's a superhero. She's a superhero. Now we're kind of understanding what it was they were trying to accomplish when they trotted her out there to forgive him. That young man, I forgive him. Now we know what they were doing. Now we know what they were up to. All right, final clip, and it's short. But I want to go into the last thing. This is honestly where they end. So they had an arc. They had a story arc, and they didn't know where to put this in. So they threw it in at the end, right before they broke. I mean, like seriously, 30 seconds before they got off, they throw in how Erica's a superhero, but not only a superhero, an accomplished superhero who actually didn't need Charlie.
But, people don't understand. Erica was established long before she met Charlie. Miss Arizona.
That's right.
CEO of 2 companies.
Yeah.
She was not the CEO of 2 companies. She had a single nonprofit, Everyday Heroes Like Us, that never filed a tax return, never filed a 990 that I can find. If it did, it has not made it to the public record, and it doesn't look like one's ever been filed because it never raised or spent over $50,000. That's not the CEO of a company. Then she established a clothing line, allegedly. The clothing line was not a separate company. It was basically a DBA of the Everyday Heroes Like Us charity, meaning it never raised or spent over $50,000 because it was part of the charity. That's called proclaimed streetwear. Guys, that's not the CEO of 2 companies. It's not like she was managing United Airlines and General Motors. That's the CEO of 2 companies. She was the CEO of 2 companies. No, she had a little know-nothing charity that did absolutely nothing for a decade and a half. It did nothing. It still has done nothing. They gave some toys for tots one year in Romania, as best I can tell. And for some reason worked in high trafficking areas like Huco, Costa Rica. Jaco, Costa Rica. Other than that, we can find, another high trafficking area, Constantine, Romania. But other than that, I can't find much that the charity ever did. But this idea, she was Miss Arizona. She was CEO of 2 companies. She was established before Charlie. Charlie didn't make her. She made Charlie.
Sharp.
Very sharp. And she reminds me a lot of my wife. I mean, she is.
Now, that's just creepy, by the way. That's just creepy. Go on, tell everybody how wonderful this person is. And she reminds me a lot of my wife.
Someone that doesn't get super emotional, and she knows the facts, and she focuses.
Are you talking about my wife?
Oh, you're so funny, Jack. That's so funny. You talking about my wife? You talking about my wife?
All of our wives.
Notice your wife and my wife
and Erica,
they're
very similar.
They're practically the same people. They're great.
Not
because God gave us that because they're married to crazy people.
Oh, they're so funny. They're so funny. Oh, these guys are so funny. That's how they ended the program, by the way. On that total bit of awkwardness. You talking about my wife? God gave us the crazy people. Oh, that's weird, guys. That's a weird way to end a podcast. That's a very weird way to end a podcast. It's clear that they had some sort of a mission. They set out to accomplish something. What that something was is kind of apparent when you look at the total arc of it. So they needed to establish a few things. One, they needed to establish that Charlie Kirk had not turned his back on our greatest ally. And they spent 45 minutes or so basically doing it. The second thing they needed to establish was that, oh gosh, I lost my way here. That Tyler Robinson did it. Charlie never turned his back on our greatest ally, and Tyler Robinson did it. And the third thing they needed to accomplish was Erica is the preferred and perfect replacement. Those are their talking points. These are the TPUSA talking points. This is the Fed Slop story. Charlie never turned his back on our greatest ally. Yeah, but what about the text message where he said that? Oh, he was just venting, just blowing off a little steam. He was coming around. You should have been on that Zoom call. You should have been on the Zoom call. Josh Hammer set him straight. Never turned his back on our greatest ally. You're out of your mind. So that's talking point one. They've been on this for like 8.5 months now. Talking point two. Absolutely, Tyler Robinson did it. That or space aliens, one or the other. Not sure which you prefer. I'm going with Tyler Robinson. If you want to go with the space aliens, that's your problem. Plain as day, though, it was him. And the third thing they need to accomplish is Erica Kirk is the perfect person to succeed Charlie Kirk. She has all the characteristics. She was established long before she met Charlie Kirk. CEO of 2 companies, Miss Arizona. I don't know how that qualifies you to run a company, but nevertheless, they raised it. Don't worry about the fact that her companies weren't actual real companies. Don't worry about the fact that Miss Arizona doesn't really qualify you to do much. It means you look good in a bathing suit. Maybe you can twirl a baton, kind of answer a question, wear an evening gown. That's what they needed to accomplish. And they put out there the guy in shooting glasses and the guy in the rug to have a conversation to establish those 3 facts. I don't think it was very effective, but they're running out of options. They're running out of options. The sad reality is that none of this is going to bring Charlie back. I mean, he's dead. It's so weird, too, because you see we've all seen him for years, the reels on Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and Twitter. You see these little shorts of Charlie talking, hamming it up with the college kids, having a good time, laughing, joking. And he's dead. Not to be morbid, but he's dead. He's not coming back. The only question is what becomes of Tyler Robinson and the investigation into who killed Charlie Kirk, how and why. And the other question is what becomes of TPUSA. And for those people, just like the tobacco companies when I opened, that's existential. They're interconnected. They've got to maintain this as long as possible in order to get as much money and influence into the organization as possible. They have to maintain that Charlie never turned his back on our greatest ally, that Tyler Robinson absolutely did it, that or space aliens. And Erica is the perfect replacement. And just like the tobacco industry lobby, I think they're lying. I think they're lying on all of it. Tobacco was addictive. It was harmful. It hurt a lot of people. And I don't think Tyler Robinson did it. I think Charlie Kirk turned his back on our greatest ally, and I think Erica is a horrific replacement. But that doesn't stop them from going out there with a straight face, just like the tobacco industry executives and lobbyists, and lying to your face. Lying right to your face, even though we all know that they know we know. We all know. If you've not had an opportunity to like the program, now's an excellent time. If you so liked what you saw here this evening. My plan at present, almost a third of you have liked the program. The other 2/3 of you watching right now, sad. Get off your duff, hit the like button. Even if you're taking off, hit it on your way out. If you watch the rest, hit it on your way out. The plan at present is to have a members show tomorrow afternoon. I'm not exactly sure what time that'll be. I have plans in the morning at 9 a.m. and I should get back in plenty of time to do the normal start, like 1 p.m. for the member show. If not, it may be closer to 2. That could turn into a regular show tomorrow night and the member show get booted to Friday, but I don't think so. I think tomorrow will be the member show. Wednesday and Thursday, I expect to go early again. We went at 5 o'clock tonight. That's a little earlier than I normally go. But I'm taking advantage of Candace being in Russia. She's going to go to Russia. I'm going to bed a little earlier. So the after party becomes the early party. So I anticipate I would go, 5, no later than 6 on Wednesday and Thursday, PM Central Time, God's time. But I do want to get through some of your comments. I appreciate you guys joining us here. Have you seen the massive new corruption scandal with America Fort Police Department? They're only 10 miles from Utah Valley University and might have had officers on the scene. No, let me look. Poor rating draws fresh scrutiny. Inundated with calls, face controversy over Legos. I don't know anything about this. What's up with Legos? I haven't followed the Lego controversy. I do apologize. Ring stayed on when Charlie Kirk reached down for Mike. Necklace snaps and hinge releases. Falls while hand upright gripping Mike at moment of impact. Both seems odd. So I think you're seeing that a little. Go slow it down and watch it again. The ring actually is on his ring finger, his third digit here from the top. 1, 2, 3. It's his ring finger where most men wear a wedding ring. It comes off. It's a hinge necklace. It didn't break. I mean, a hinge ring. It didn't break. It hinges open. And it came off, but then it froze to his pinky finger. It defied gravity for over a full second. Then when his hand begins to loosen up on the mic, the ring finally falls. That was sort of the genesis of me looking into a potential electrical event because of all those simultaneous mechanics. Did I see DJT gifting BB a key to the White House? No, I did not, but he's got more than that. He's got a key to the military. Anyone know who Blake Wynn's soon-to-be fiance is? No, and I don't want to invade her privacy. I don't know who she is. Didn't even look. Certainly would not want my boyfriend to be running all over the country with Erica Kirk. Thank you, Baron. 1R. Glad to be a member of the high IQ outfit. Thank you. Thank you. This is a high IQ outfit. I keep telling people that. Dre thought it meant that she was wearing denim. Baron Bravo, on your unwavering pursuit of the truth, do I think Trump is a Trojan horse? See Peter Cooper's 1990 prediction called The Wall. Trojan horse, bad president, what's the difference? I mean, they're basically the same thing, right? When are you coming to see the Orthodox churches? You'll be impressed. I have seen Orthodox churches. I've been in them, and they are very impressive structures. Very impressive. Blake N. watches RBP, thus the weight loss. That or Ozempic, we're not sure which. Or Wegovy. Or maybe he's on, what's the newest fad everybody's taking? It's called, I can't remember. Some triple something. Yeah, that or, in the 80s, we just said he had AIDS. But I don't think he does. Hear me out, Baron. Isn't always muting coughs. He's also muting toots. I kid. Christy. I don't think I've ever done that. I'm not above it. I just don't think I've done it. If I ever need to, I absolutely will. Now that you've given me the idea. Love the opening statement. Well, thank you. I tried to get him in there. Holy smokes. Here's your opening statement. Let's go. Yeah. I got some complaints that I had not done them for a few shows. Sorry, guys. Serious business. Welcome to the Grandparents Club, Baron. Congratulations. Oh, and she's a perfect one. I'm going to see her in the morning. I hope you got my card letter to your P.O. box. It was received in good spirit intended. Tracy from Arizona in Ireland. God bless you and yours. I get a lot of cards and letters. I'm not sure which one you're talking about, but I've read them all. So, yes. I'm such a fan. I've been here since the Google Trends. Thank you for what you do. God bless you. I spent some time on Google Trends this morning, as a matter of fact. Was EK's date at the Ducks game tracked by government like White House Correspondents' Dinner? I don't know. I haven't talked to the government. Love that everyone now calls Blake Blakey. Yeah. Or Fat Boy. But he's not so fat anymore. I think that got to him. I think you might have pink eye. Your conjunctivae tobac. Executive look inflamed. Is that true? I don't think so. It's possible I just have inflamed conjunctivae tobac. It's happened before. I think. I don't even know what that is. I don't know. I did have a it was this eye earlier. I had a I think it was a eyelash in there, but I was able to, with dexterity, I was able to finagle it out of there while doing an opening statement. Guys, a man of many talents. It's hard work to make an opening statement and eyelash removal look that easy simultaneously, but I was able to contemporaneously pull it off. Baron, the UK's British royal family could use your and Daisy's services to do a deep dive on Meghan Markle. Your next series, please. I honestly have never looked into her at all. I barely know who she is. I think I could pick her out of a lineup. I'm not 100% sure. It depends on how distinct the people are. I know she's a brunette, kind of mid-sized. Not like fat, but I'm talking about like height, mid-sized. I don't think I know her facial characteristics enough to be able to pick her out of a lineup unless she's there with like a blonde and a redhead. Then I could pick her out. I would know which one she is then. B. I was flummoxed last night when you couldn't replicate the Blake Wynn Israel search. I found it only worked when I used Google Trends Classic. I couldn't replicate it with the new default version of Trends. And yes, I used quotes. Oh, I didn't know you could do the Classic. I have to go check that out. I know they've ruined it with this new version. It's terrible. Any thoughts on Cenk and Hassan Piker being banned from UK for criticizing Philadelphia? I've heard that once someone is banned, may equal indefinitely. I gave my brief thoughts last night on Cenk. I think there are literally billions of people who say the same things he says. I don't know why you single him out. Congrats on your new grandbaby. I will become a first-time Grammy in October to Miss Ruby Kate. We can't wait to meet her. She sounds amazing. I was waiting on one in June. And she arrived in May. So be careful. Be careful saying that October business. They've been known to show up whenever they want. First time on the big screen, just in case it's pronounced Rochelle. Oh, it doesn't look like it's pronounced Rochelle. Looks like Alex Trebek needs to get involved. We need to buy a vowel. Oh, no, that's not him. That's Pat Sajak. Pat Sajak, who fell asleep during Erica's speech. To the legendary Big B, thank you for all you do for us plebes. Anytime. I love the plebes. I am a plebe. Attended the last two Young Women's Leadership Summit. Last year was the first year Charlie Kirk brought out EK. Even did a meet and greet. Seems like it was her deliberate hard launch on us. Maybe, but it could also be the first year that she didn't have an infant, like a tiny infant. Actually, I don't know that. Well, how old is that boy? Maybe he was a tiny infant. Maybe in the first year she wasn't. I'm doing one of these if you can't see it behind the comment. It might be in the first year she didn't have a bun in the oven. I was taught about propaganda in school, pre-high school for sure. I wonder why they stopped teaching that subject. Cigarette era money. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. Good call. Amazing cigarettes are unhealthy, stigmatized, not allowed to be advertised or home delivered. Yet alcohol causes significantly more disease, deaths, violence, and heartache, yet treated as normal and glorified. Why? Treated more than normal. You're a weirdo if you don't drink. That's what I've learned since quitting drinking. Everywhere you go, someone offers you a beer, a whiskey, a wine, and you're like, nah, I don't drink. And they're like, what happened? There's always they think there's a story. Like I got ripped and totaled a car on the interstate. Nah, I just got sick of it. Realized it wasn't good for me. One guy put it this way. I was a baby lawyer, and they make you take these mandatory CLE classes in Florida. And one of them's on professionalism. And this guy was talking about the dangers of alcoholism in the legal profession. And he said, hey, if you ever feel like you can't handle it, just quit. He said, some people, for example, can have 2 or 3 beers, wake up the next morning and go to work. He goes on to say, I have 2 or 3 beers. I wake up the next morning in Biloxi outside a casino. I thought that was funny. First time commenting or catching a live, usually a proud member of the Rewatch crew. What up to this high IQ outfit? Hannah Joe, that's the advantage going early. The disadvantage is we lose some of the later people. The advantage is we pick up some earlier people. So glad you could join us. Hey, B, was away this weekend. I know you missed me Sunday. Oh, I did. Cubby. As soon as I got off the air, I was asking Mrs. Coleman, did anyone see Cubby? Where's Cubby? I missed you too. Caught up today. Good to see you live. Bless you, humble host. Love from your number 1 Delaware fan. Christ is king indeed. I didn't know we had a number 1 Delaware fan. Now we do. Smoking killed my mom. Emphysema, etc. She literally suffocated to death in the hospital. Losing your mom at 29 is awful. Thank you for your hard work. Yeah, that sounds horrific. So you guys hear my cough, right? It's a productive cough most of the time. And it got particularly bad for a few months. And I called my sister, Nurse Casey. And I said, I finally realized how I'm going to die. I'm going to suffocate to death. I'm going to drown. And it was like a hard realization that that's probably not going to be an easy way to go, but I don't see another way out for your humble host, not short of some tragedy. Gary Tobe's book, The Case Against Sugar. He argues the blending of sugar and tobacco in blended cigarettes made it easier to inhale the smoke and started the cancer associated with smoking. I didn't know they mixed sugar in with it. I had no idea. Great show last night. Tobacco back then, GLP-1s now. Wait till the new GLP-GIP glucagon is available. Careful with peptides. Anything too good to be true usually is. Granddad B, you're a bright light in my day. Bless you. Christ is king indeed. I'll be interested to see how that works out because playing with people's digestive systems by slowing it down has to have consequences. I don't know what those are yet, but they have to at some point have consequences. Also, playing with your metabolism has to have long-term consequences. I saw some study and it was so high I couldn't believe it to be true. So I'm waiting on additional studies. There's something like 97% of people who take these drugs lose weight. When they go off of them, they actually end up weighing more. So it's basically a lifetime commit. And for some people, that's fine. You type 2 diabetes, maybe you're morbidly obese, and being on a shot is better than, dying in the next 5 years. But for people that are like 25 and taking it just because they want to lose 5 pounds, I don't know about that. Any flight record line up with EK TripAdvisor reviews? P.S. My wife still wants to paint Tilly for you. I'll resend email. Yeah, do that because I haven't checked the email in a while. No, the flight records don't go back that far. The TripAdvisor reviews were back in like 2016 or 17, 18. I can't remember when. The flight records, there's no publicly available flight records. Good catch, though. Love your work and the sweet and honest man you are. Well, thank you, Maria with wrinkles. I love your wrinkles, by the way. Thank you for serving. Serve us with the truth. Love you for standing strong in your religion and the kindness that is giving you the it factor. May God be good to you and keep you all safe. With love from Sweden. Maria. Christ is king indeed. Maria, that was very kind. Very, very kind and sweet words and thankful. Thankful that you chimed in with them. And thank you again for the generosity there. Edge, slightly off topic, but I want to recommend Liberty Lockdown with Joe Kent. As with your work, it's a good one. Thoughts on the trial events. I did cover that later. I don't know if I'd gotten to that yet by the time you commented, but I did cover the trial event, or not the trial events, the court hearing, if that's what you're talking about. I like Liberty Lockdown a lot. I like Clint. He's a great guy. I'll have to check that out with Joe Kent. I haven't watched it. So thank you for the rec. My late father's favorite verse, Proverbs 17:6. Love you more. Christ is king indeed. Y'all hit me with the Old Testament, huh? You, Erica? She's allergic to the New Testament. But 17:6. Oh, it's a reader's night, guys. Sorry. Children's children are the crown of the elderly, and the glory of children is their parentage. Well, I agree with the second part. I'll make sure my kids memorize that. The second half. I'll make sure they get the second half down cold. I have a theory. Charlie sent Candace a dead man switch, and she's sitting on it and letting TPUSA and the shills create their own demise before releasing. That's an interesting theory. I don't know that that's true. Second leading cause of lung cancer is radon. Test your basements. Test kits available at HD Lowe's. I'm a former 20-year smoker. Quit for good 15 years. Never again. Well, sometimes you wet your plants too, so you got to be careful there. I did not know that was the second leading cause. I remember as a child at an elementary school in Indiana, them coming to test the classrooms for radon. I don't know what it meant at the time, but I remember it. 1 year ago, our granddaughter asked her parents when she could see her best friend again. They asked who her best friend was. She said, Grandpa. That's really sweet. That simply is the best. Edge. Oh, my heck. So sick of hearing about Turek. He's such a lying snail. As a pastor, he should be ashamed. The SUV ride made him an accessory, in Edge's opinion. Is he a pastor? Like, does he have, like, this gets back to what I was saying a few episodes ago. When I hear pastor, I think flock. Like, if I'm standing out in a field and I've got a staff, but I have no sheep, I am not a shepherd. I'm not a pastor. I'm just a rando with a stick. Now, same rando, same stick, but I'm making sure there's sheep, and now I'm a pastor. Now I'm a shepherd, I'm a pastor. I'm out there working the flock. I'm out there keeping the wolves at bay. I got the dog, and we're getting them grounded up. Does he have any sheep? Does he have a stick? Congrats, Granddad. Took you up on suggestion you gave a few weeks ago. I'll just say I have donated my pajamas. Oh, no! Brig purr. If you know, you know. Thank you, Christ is King. I know. And I bet you're loving it. I bet you're loving it. Just free as can be. Free as can be. That's a good suggestion. I highly recommend it. Why has guy who removed from behind Charlie not charged with interfering with crime scene? I want to call you and say I witnessed crime, because we all have. Oh, Utah. They're aware. You don't have to call. I don't know. Gary from Parrot Mouth Impractical. You talking about Gary? What is with that hair or wig? I don't know. That's why I had to ask. In fact, I watched it. I watched it twice today, and or yesterday today, and the whole time I was sitting there thinking, I think it's a wig. Like, who has a hair part right there? It's like it was on backwards. You know what I mean? Like that thing going on in the front should have actually been going on back here. And he was like fumbling around with styrofoam heads in the dark, and he's like, "Here's one." They just put it on, and out he went, and he didn't look in the mirror. And it's like you put your shirt on backwards, and all day people are like, does he know his shirt's on backwards? I just wonder how many people are like, you tell him. No, he's got to get the Velcro out. He'd have to pull it off. You know, it's tough. Serious business, guys. Serious business. Speaking of addictions, my hubby is on day 2 of a 48-hour firefighter shift in Portland, Oregon. Overdoses every night. Can you give Sam a shout out? Sam, the Narcan man. Is that who we're talking about here? Overdosing in Portland. Why do we allow Portland to exist? I mean, they did come up with that show Portlandia, which admittedly was the first season anyway, was pretty funny. Second season was kind of funny. I didn't stick around after that. So we do have that. But why would we allow Portland to exist? Nevertheless, it persists. Baron, so happy to be back. Had bad car accident 8 weeks ago. Recovery slow. Please, prayers from you guys. Missed you and everyone. Christ is King indeed. Cat wilding out. She wilding out in there. I will say this, Cat, and I'm glad it wasn't any worse than it was, but car wrecks are scary. I'm glad you're back. Butch is a pseudonym, I'm sure. No, I think he goes by Butch. Oh, it's a nickname. His real name's Burton. Paying to say that's your backstory. Keep going, B. We're all behind you. Go, Max. Christ is King indeed. Yeah, I had to know. Hi, Baron. Love your podcasting style. I very much enjoy all of them. Please share your natural bug spray. Oh, he's back home too. And I didn't look at it. I will find that. I could probably look it up on Amazon because I think I bought it on Amazon. I will find it. Thank you for reminding me. I won't do it on the member show because you are a member. Maybe I'll tell you there too, but I'll do it on the regular show Wednesday because I know a lot of people have asked about it. I typed my comment early, so I apologize if you shared since. No, I have not. He's back home. He had a great time, by the way. Hi, Baron. If you ever want to steer into another topic, please look at the police corruption in the Reckless Ben Lego scandal in Utah. Thanks, Counselor. That's what someone was just mentioning. I'm looking at it on my screen. What in the world? How reckless can Legos be? I'm looking. What's the Lego rest? Let's see here. I got a Salt Lake Tribune article. Maybe that's what I need to click. A dispute over a prized Star Wars Lego collection led to a YouTube crusade. Then came the stalking charges in Utah. The feud over an older Oregon man's Lego bricks has spawned lawsuits, arrests, and Utah charges of stalking and trespassing. Ben Schneider, also known as Reckless Ben on YouTube, posted several videos since last week documenting his quest to recover a massive collection of Lego sets and minifigures for an 83-year-old Oregon man and his son, Brian Mansell. Wonder if they're related to Nigel. Schneider has alleged the Lego sets and minifigures are worth over $200,000. For Legos, I must have $1 trillion upstairs. I step on them every time I walk up there. They were stolen by Bricks and Minifigs, a Lego resale chain headquartered in Utah. This is unbelievable. All right, I'm going to have to look into this. We got an opening statement coming because this is. I'm not sure how I would cover such a thing. Now, I will say this. Years ago, Mrs. Coleman and I were friends with a couple that we used to go to church with. We don't keep in touch with them anymore. Not that they're bad people. We just, life moves on and you go a different direction. You don't talk to them anymore. But I followed him on Facebook for many, many years. May still. He went into the Lego business, meaning he builds elaborate Lego structures and goes to shows and has a whole YouTube channel dedicated. And gets a lot of views. Like he's pretty popular in the world of Lego. I'm not going to say his name. But apparently that's a thing. This is indeed a weird place to park that rug. No, you can't park here. Christ is king indeed. Why is Jack Hibbs unbuttoning his sleeve so creepily as he says his brother's an operative? And that hair is for sure a rug, terribly placed. I didn't even catch the sleeve unbuttoning. Was he rolling them up like, oh, yeah, my brother works for the Mossad. Oh, yeah, he working for them Mossads. He got them sad Mos. Oh, yeah, you better watch out. Just me or does Frank Turek look like the turtle from the kid cartoon Franklin? Never seen them in the same room together. I'll look him up. Franklin Turtle. Yeah, kind of. Got a little terrapin in him. A little terrapin, just a touch. He's been touched by the terrapin. Following since Ian, after great loss and painful betrayals, I lost my faith in humanity. Your unwavering honesty and courage have been inspiring. Continued. I will find the rest of that, but thank you. That's very, very high praise. My boys graduated high school last week. Yay. I'm catching up on shows. Just have to say, Dr. E.K. is going to have such a complex. She's going to get lipo tucks on her fingers. Love your show, sir. Christ is king indeed. She needs them. Needs to get that Ozempic right in there, right in between right in the webbing. I kid, guys. I totally kid. That's me joking. She can have big fingers. Big fingers need love too. I live in England, and I know Butch. Tut, Frank. Oh, I don't know what that means. Covert op. Best seat. Hiding in the bushes. Yeah, he was talking to bushes for a minute. I'm so glad you are on. My partner's out of town for work. Sometimes feeling lonely gets me in a weird headspace. But your show makes me feel not so alone. Thanks for all you do. Savannah Madden, we're all in this together. We're one big happy family, Erica. We're just a family. No, we're a community and a good one. So you're welcome in. Welcome in. Sad to miss the whole live today in San Diego for a work trip, but tuning in until our meeting. This 2-hour time difference may be the death of me. Look forward to playing catch up on my flight back to St. Louis on Wednesday. But just have it on. Put in the greatest part of being hearing impaired. Have them in here with me. When you wear hearing aids, they stream Bluetooth. Yeah. You can podcast all day long. No one knows. Your steadfast faith and integrity has been restorative. Thank you. Christ is King, indeed. P.S. Requesting Google Trends search dates added to timeline. And please share that document. Oh, that's a good one. I have a whole spreadsheet somewhere. I have no idea where it is. Of all those search results. If not, I can just go back and like speed watch the shows and tag them all down. What the Fiquette? Recent short, 2015 Eric in tactical gear at firing range shooting a military grade weapon. Ding! She hits her target. I didn't see that. I don't want to play that on YouTube. They get weird about pew-pews. I'm not one of those channels that can get away with it. Oh, so now they want us to believe there was no plan for the guy who picked up the explosives from the factory in Tennessee to be at the event. Oh, allegedly. Yeah. Actually, nope. Nice try, mophead. Oh. That's harsh. We can ask the question if it's a rug. Mophead. I mean, Blake would die for that rug. Blake would love a rug like that. That's a high quality rug. That's a nice rug. Is that your rug? That's a nice rug. I have no problem with people wearing rugs, by the way. None whatsoever. Yeah, I'm not gonna. Thanks, Baron, for exposing Pastor Hibbs. Used to watch him. So obvious that they both are lying. How can anyone forget details on that day? Such liars, and it's so obvious Christ is King indeed. I can't hear what Jack is saying because that bad rug is hypnotic. You are getting sleepy. The rug is backwards. The part is on the wrong side. Wait, wasn't Mikey McCoy the magnificent, the amazing, like a general issuing commands, like a maestro? Now Pastor Hibbs says Mikey was beside himself, begging him to get everyone praying for Charlie Kirk. I guess you could be both in control and a man of deep prayer, intercessory prayer, as it is termed. But yeah, I just find it weird that two people from the same event called a random pastor in California, who also happened to be the very first person, I believe, or second by seconds, to announce Charlie Kirk had died. He and Victor Marks both have since deleted, I believe, their posts announcing Charlie's death. Jack specifically said, I believe, if I recall correctly, that he got that information from overseas, our greatest ally, which is even weirder if you think about it. Why was somebody in overseas with our greatest ally being kept up to date moment by moment about Charlie's passing, his condition? Why was that person then feeding the information back to Jack Hibbs, who also happened to be the person called from two people at the scene of the crime? See how this is weird, guys? And if you think it's weird, maybe you come out and do a podcast and just explain it all, or just talk about it. So people maybe think, well, he obviously doesn't think it can't be that weird, or he wouldn't be talking about it. Yeah, he would. Hide in the open, boys. Hide right out in the middle of the field. I can't get over that. Mikey McCoy, scene of the crime, calls Jack Hibbs. Frank Turek, scene of the crime, calls Jack Hibbs. Why? Jack wasn't there. He doesn't even live there. He's in a totally other state. He lives hours away. Is Jack Hibbs also Butch Hibbs? No, he's Butch Hibbs' brother, his younger brother. All the wigs at his house, is it a matter of skies? If the wig does fit, you must acquit. Now, I didn't think about that. Maybe he has on one of his styrofoam heads, he has a Butch Hibbs model. I don't know. How could Mikey be telling anyone on his phone calls there's so much blood when he walked away before seeing what happened? Maybe Blake told him. I don't know. It's a good question. I don't know. My grandma was told to smoke during pregnancy, 1961. I will say this. Crohn's disease, I think, is what they the one that they call a non-smokers disease. I think smokers don't get it for whatever reason. Nicotine sort of calms that system. So I wouldn't say that nicotine has no positive benefit, but I think generally speaking, giving advice to a woman to go inhale tar and carcinogenic particulates deep into their lung tissue while they're developing a baby child is probably bad advice. Hey, Baron, I heard cedar wood oil is good tick repellent. Christ is king indeed. Cedar wood oil, you say? I haven't heard that. Baron, Frank's podcast didn't appear to be live. All they had to do is edit Jack's failed script. Glad they're low IQ. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, it wasn't live. It was filmed on March 15th. It was released 4 days ago. So March 20th. It took about 2 weeks to edit, I guess, and get out. Who knows what hit the cutting room floor? Goodness gracious. For whatever reason, hearing you act as Jack Hibbs describing his brother made me think of the old SNL skit with Martin and Aykroyd. Two wild and crazy guys. That was a good skit. All of you that don't know what I'm talking about think I'm weird, and that's okay. I'll allow it just this once. How could Mikey, knowing how much blood there was when Charlie was taken out, he's gone before Charlie hit the ground? More lies. Christ is king indeed. More lies indeed. My brother used to ask my mom if he could watch Old Yeller again and again because he wanted to see if Old Yeller would live the next time. Christ is king indeed. I hope he was like under the age of 4. At a certain point, you kind of realize. I kid. Blatant lies. Why they don't have earpieces for their script. Also, Mikey couldn't have seen all the blood because he left right away. Blood did not even have time to come out. Yeah, well, that's true. Maybe he talked to somebody. I don't know. Who knows when he made these calls? I don't know. For what it's worth, Edge, very early on when investigating Butch, I encountered Jack speaking, maybe Facebook, and he told the same story of Butch's attendance. It's well rehearsed, or he's sticking with his truth. I just find it nearly impossible to believe that of all the things going on in Charlie's life, Charlie answers a late night phone call from Jack and arranges to get Butch there in prime location. But maybe. Best doggone dog in the West. Watch the Joe monologue again. It never gets less funny. You get so excited when you see their stuff for free. You can barely get the words out. I forgot about that. Yeah, I did. Well, at first I realized how cheap it was to not be stupid, like under $10. And then there's free stuff. And it was from like a top-notch University of Stanford, wasn't it? I don't know. I mean, hope she took me up on it. I was the first baby dedicated at Jack Hibbs Church in 1990. Went there for 18 years until I had a choice. Oh, the stories I could tell you. LOL. Rachel, we're all ears. Would love to hear the stories. Also off topic, I don't know why, but I feel like the jacket Andrew wore was Charlie's with Vance. Maybe Erica keeps one on hand and somehow had it at the White House Correspondents' Dinner too. Oh, I hope that's not true. That would be kind of creepy. Like, I don't want to wear dead people's clothes. Mr. Show Sunday, because we're putting our family dog Bailey down. Oh, no, he's the best boy. Give Tilbur a pat from all of us. Christ is king indeed. I will live in life every day. You had to rub it in, didn't you? Live in life every day. I kid. I'm kidding. Good humor. Humor's the best medicine. I'm sorry to hear that about Bailey boy. He sounded like a good boy. And I'll give Tilbur a pat from all of you. Yeah, I will. I like that you remember her nickname's Tilbur. That hits home. But Baron, is old Frank defying the judge again by talking about this? He was there. Frank Turek is covering for you. She heard me talking about her. She heard me talking about her. You see that? Can't say her name. She'll come calling. Frank Turek covering for something. Hi, Erica. Stay out of the curtains. Yeah, get out of my curtains. Well, no. It's your lovey. We made a deal. She's allowed in the curtains now. You missed that? It was a few episodes ago. We made a deal. She can play in the curtains. She can even break the curtain. I don't think Frank is employed by TPUSA, and for some reason that judge is order was particularly narrow. I would have said affiliated in any way with TPUSA, but I didn't. I'm not the judge. Frank was the fourth stooge. That's why he wears them dumb glasses. I poked one too many times. Oh, he forgot to do this once. I'm actually sitting here talking to you on my TV out loud like you can hear me. You don't know I can't. Actually flows like a conversation. It's kind of weird. Good to see you. Missed your show last night. Took a brief media break. Well, you can always watch the replay, Spotify or YouTube. Charlie Kirk show feels like an ongoing alibi to me. Yeah, me too. And propaganda outfit. Thanks for helping us feel like we're not crazy. You're not crazy during these dark times in America. No. You are not crazy. Our flag will still be there. God bless. No, you're not crazy. We're all in this together. Please shout out Meemaw Judy, North Carolina. Happy 80th. Oh, you celebrate one of those round ones. Ends with a 0. Happy birthday, Meemaw Judy. Christ is King indeed. All the way from North Kakalaki. I could be late to this, but I'm just finding out TPUSA funded CK and EK's wedding. It was billed as a 9th anniversary and fundraiser by Andrew Colvette. Yeah. They also fund their vacation travel and their personal travel and their business. You or I did that, we'd be in the pokey. Like, I actually run businesses and don't claim anything. I'm scared to death of them. But Baron did a Baron. I know. Dang it. Oh, I had been on such a good run. I hadn't done that in weeks, maybe months. Watching since October. I love watching this high IQ outfit grow. Thank you. Well, I took a step back tonight. What can be done to stop the nonsense currently in NDAA Section 234? So now I've seen 224, 234, and 244. We're going to get to the bottom of this. NDAA Section 224. It's 224. I don't know. Call your congressman. Show in particular has me laughing out loud. You've made my Monday. Thank you. Oh, well, Mondays are great. Monday's the day you get to capture the week, and you make it submit to your will. You bend it to your will. You say, I will control this week. You're not going to control me. I'm in control here. You're not going to get away with this. Give your week a fancy name. Say, Mana. Mikey. Barron is a very good listener. Time to come to us and time to not be fake. Gay, okay if you like. Oh. I am a good listener, Mikey. You can come. Mikey. You don't have to be fake. And be whatever else you want. Move to Hillcrest, San Diego. You'll be comfortable in your new life. Crop tops welcome. You know what's funny about that? Oh, I shouldn't even admit this. I had a criminal case one time in California. It was in San Diego. And it was about a crime that took place at a gay bar, of all places. I think I remember the name of the gay bar. I'm obviously not going to say it. But it was an assault case or something. I can't remember the exact crime that was charged. But I got roped into it by a friend of mine who needed some specialized help on it. And I was unaware of the theme there in San Diego. But I found out then it's the whole state. It's not just San Diego. Nothing like watching B sit there in silence. I'm so sorry, guys. Please accept my deepest and sincerest apologies. He's implying Charlie couldn't reach modern women, but now Erica can, so Charlie's final problem was solved. So in a way, Erica's fulfilling Charlie's worries. Total bull butter. Well, that's an even better way to put it than I had. So thank you, madness. My God-given gift of discernment, high alert, rug aside, major bull doo-doo vibes from these two. I don't want this to get out. Yeah, you're on YouTube. Nozzle. We'll call him Nozzle. I'll clean up your comment a little bit. But Baron, we just went to our daughter's baby shower. First grandson due in July 4th, born on the 4th of July. Got a whole movie made up. How fun is that for America 250, baby? Can't wait till Tyler trial moves forward and you expose the Fed slop. Christ is king indeed. I hope he makes it to the due date. We never had one. We had 8. And we never had one make the due date. We had one 10 minutes shy of the due date. Due date was, I do remember, but I can tell you, date X, the night before at 11:50 p.m., made his arrival. By 10 o'clock, I was like, we're finally going to have one make the due date. I just know it. We're not even close. 11 o'clock rolls around. I was like, money in the bank. Go ahead and pay up. All you who bet it wouldn't make the due date. 11:30. We only got a half hour. Come on. We're good to go. 11:50. Meet your son. The one who could not wait till the due date. Well, he's great, though. He's great. He's great. So we'll allow it. We'll allow it. B, I'm sure Jesus smiles when we unite more people with love, honesty, and patience. Thank you. I comment, never super chat till now, but you want to know how glad I am to be, want you to know how glad I am to be part of this community. Jesus loves us. He does. He does. Thank you for commenting, Sharon Maloney. You can tell the T in TPUSA doesn't stand for truth. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. Grace and Elegance looking after her children. Come on now, Frank. Yeah, come on, Frank. Yeah, he's totally wearing a rug called a clip-in hair topper, if he's a she, or a toupee for the men. Kristen. Hey, Critter, I appreciate the quick education lesson on the many titles. Grace and Elegance does not mean leather pants and glitter. Oh, gosh. No, it doesn't. Christ is King indeed. It's doesn't mean Elvis suits either, but nevertheless, there we were witnessing it in all its glory. Baron self-sabotaging video clips. Too funny, too good. Blessings to our humble host. Blessings needed tonight. Guys. That was a huge miss. I'd been so long. Start the calendar over at 0 days since he pulled a Baron. Frank Turek said earlier he was with Charlie Kirk the night of the 9th, right? Went for a walk together and back for another walk. So he wouldn't have needed to call him up about Butch the night before if he was with him. Jack, I think, called, not Frank. I mean, Jack was the one who called. Christ is King indeed. Thank you. Honestly, feel like you owe me this $20 for making me see that Frank Turek had on skinny jeans. Did he? I didn't even notice. I apologize. I would never have done that to you. I would have held that back. I would have edited that out. I'd have gotten Daisy to put a big old black box over it. And then I told you wasn't wearing pants. I don't know. You don't have pants on. I bet it was the topic, but the actual flow was, how am I supposed to defend what our greatest ally is doing? Try to convince me, and we all saw the result. Now, I don't think it was that at all. I think the topic was, hey, earlier you sent a text saying you no choice but to leave the pros your cause. How serious are you about that? Serious as a heart attack. Oh, heart attack, you say. Google Trends the paver guy. Oh, okay. Are they setting up the withdrawal of Erica as CEO? I've begun to think that. I've begun to think that that's what they're doing. They're laying in place. Can we do an audience call-in show for members? No, not on YouTube. I tried to do that on Spaces. X is such a terrible platform. It was, can't do it. I mean, you can. No, I can't do that on YouTube though, because all it takes is one enemy to say something really stupid and the channel's nuked. I can't do that. Jack said, even though he had months to do it, Butch called me the night before. Months? Wasn't the UVU thrown together and announced at the last minute? No. The official timeline is almost 2 full months ahead of time. July 18th to September 10th. I mean, it might have been weeks. I don't know. Frank T said Charlie did not suffer. Yet a 911 call played on this high IQ program revealed that a door to the SUV was open on the way to the hospital. Signs of a struggle. Frank T and crew continue to sell a false narrative. Yeah, I want to get to the bottom of that. I don't know how we can, because they're not going to turn over that footage, maybe ever, but certainly not before the trial. But I want to get to the bottom of that. What was seen hanging out of the SUV, and why was anything hanging out of the SUV? If they're doing 60, 80, 100 miles an hour down the road. And why did it take them 15 minutes to get to the hospital? The hospital's like 2 miles away. They were doing over 60. That's less than 2 minutes. I don't quite understand that. Was the COO fired December 2017 setup? I tend to think so. She went to work for Clarence Thomas, who said she'd been treated unfairly. Did they get her out of the way? Was that the PR disaster opening the door for Andrew? So to answer your last question first, I think that was the PR disaster, believe it or not. I do think she was set up because another guy had either quit or been fired, and that was the person she was texting with. And my guess is they looked at his phone and then saw those text messages like, whoa, here's our chance to get rid of her. Now, keep in mind, she was one of the early Charlie Kirk appointees, early employees. She'd been there basically from the beginning and had more power in the organization than anyone not named Charlie Kirk. Hypocrisy of Women's Leadership Summit pushing trad wife has always been confusing to me. And Charlie Kirk believed kids need a strong man in the house. Why deny dating? P.S. Have you looked into Philly texts? I have the info. I don't know what Philly texts are. So feel free to email me the info. Are you going to the White House MMA fight on Sunday? June 14th. The General Lee and Knight Rider kit car will also be on the scene. I bet it won't be the original General Lee. I bet it won't have the flag on the top. You know, they took that out during the Black Lives Matter thing. The General Lee, Aunt Jemima, Uncle Ben, all toasted. All toasted. Probably call him like the General Grant now. No, I'm not going to go to an MMA fight on the White House lawn. That's the last place I'd be. Frank Turdeck. Oh, come on. He's weird vibes from day one. Yeah. Well, I agree with that part. Excited, my 17-year-old and I were confirmed Catholic last Sunday. Any Catholic podcast resources you enjoy? Thank you for being a force for good. Christ is King indeed. I do look at newadvent.org every day. It's a cool little Catholic headline aggregator. It's like the Drudge Report for Catholics. New Advent. So I look at that. My wife enjoys Mike Schmidt, Father Mike Schmidt's stuff quite a bit. You could listen to stuff for months and never get to all of it. Yeah. Any YouTube video of Scott Hahn, always a good time. So thank you. Thank you for your kind words. And congratulations. Find myself angry. My dad, a lifetime smoker, has stage 4 small cell cancer now. I'm so sick of money being more important than public health and truth. Yeah. It's tragic. I mean, it's just, but the story I laid out is exactly what happened. Yes, I caught your live. Well, thank you. Yay, I caught your comment, Paige. By the way, you are my husband, Brian's doppelganger. Sounds like a handsome man. Sounds amazing. Freaks him out every time he sees me watching you. You even give the same looks, which was a little uncanny at first, but now I find it endearing. Love your show. You guys aren't from Indiana, are you? Are you? I have to check out this so-called Brian. Maybe email me a picture of him and put doppelganger in the subject. If he doesn't mind, get his permission. I don't want a picture floating all over the internet. But I'm very curious what a doppelganger of mine looks like. Butch Hibbs was in an early TikTok video labeled The Time Traveler. Showed him walking to the tent with Charlie's crew right before the Big Bang. I can't find it since, which is bothersome. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. You can just feel the dishonesty and deception from both of them, in my opinion. They give me the ick. Christ is King indeed. I know because I have teenagers that you don't want the ick. Ugh. I'm a wreck tonight, but was thankful for some distraction watching my favorite podcaster. Lost my 16-year-old fur baby girl this morning after she got suddenly ill on Friday. Prayers would be greatly appreciated. Well, I hope you bounce back. I do pray you bounce back, Rhonda. 16 years is a long time for a dog. Don't most of them? I don't know. I shouldn't have said that. Maybe it's not long. I thought dogs died at like 10 or 12. 16 is great. You had a long life. Cats, I think, can make it up that long. These TPUSA guys are doggy paddling in a whirlpool. They're the ones who will pay the piper, not the powerful people who agreed to help with the allegedly help with the CK removal. Yeah, maybe. So much blood, he was gone before CK hit the ground. That's been duly noted. A true grieving widow would also call security into question and possibly bring a lawsuit against them for wrongful death. Nothing. See Vanessa Bryant. I heard rumor that she intended to sue Brian Harpole, but I don't know much about it. I do think there's some other lawsuits either being prepared. They're certainly being discussed. I have caught wind of that from inside their circle. That there were some potential lawsuits being considered. Candace, we miss and adore you. Thankful for all you do to help this investigation. But Baron, you're a gem of immense help as well. Jesus Christ is King. What time is it in Russia? What time is it in, where is she? Not in Moscow, but I'll put Moscow. 3:35 a.m. Hopefully she's not watching. Hopefully she's asleep. Hole Digger and Ring Buddy. Oh, we got a new member. B, splendid work. Thank you, G-Paw. Oh, you're welcome. Thank you. Attended Jack's church for 25 years. The hair is real. No. That's not possible. I don't think that's possible. Is it really? I'll believe you. Take you at your word. Question, Baron. There are plenty of people in Butler, PA that saw Trump's remover. What makes you believe UVU students on the roof above Charlie would have stopped anything? That's a good point. That's a good point. Tell me the dosage of oil of oregano you give the kids. Well, I just got the oil of oregano here recently, and I've been taking it. I've been taking 4 drops. I don't know what that means. The bottle said take 4 drops. What I give the kids when they get sick is something called black seed oil, and it is remarkable. But I'm not a doctor, and I don't give medical advice. So do your own research. Sounds like Frank was saying Charlie Kirk felt he couldn't get through to women because he wasn't a woman. Hence EK, the CEO, to get through to the woman, of course. Yeah, but they want someone who's not a career gal, allegedly, in his opinion. I tuned into CK show first time. They turn off comments, by the way. Oh, did they really? I didn't know that. Not that I've tried to comment, but that's kind of weird. Today they blamed low birth rate on 64% of degrees being earned by women. Us not wanting low earning men. No other theories discussed. Wow. Interesting. That's interesting coming on the heels of Frank and Jack discussing it, almost as if they're talking points that have gone out. And this is going to be the new transition that Erica Kirk is going to be reaching women for babies. I don't know. Just calling it like I see it. Touche, toupee hour would be a good name for that one. Yeah. I don't know. The other person said it's real. I'm confused. I'll tell you what the Holy Spirit won't allow: crooked hair rugs. It's clear deception. Just kidding. I won't speak for the Holy Spirit, but I do not allow it. Well, Kelly, I'm very confused because now I'm told it might be real. Awful, arrogant liars, R.I.P. Indeed. Thank you for covering the Hibbs connection. I'm doing my best out here to get to everything. Evangelicals, Antichrist cult, or EFBBIMO. Not all of them, surely, but I'm sure there's some. The face you made after you said more Frank than I want. I didn't know if anybody would catch that. Thank you for pointing out my shock. I just say stuff. Sometimes things come out. I'm like, whoa. Can't unring the bell, though. Can't unring the bell. I just had a conversation the other day with Drake because she was like, I don't know if I want to go live because sometimes I say things. I'm like, I say things all the time. It's part of the charm. You say something and you're like, oh, well, just make fun of yourself and move on. Dibs on Hibbs' wig if it turns out he knew about the squib. Oh. I'm not a squibber. RBP, LOL moment of the day, calling Jack Rug Boy. September 18th, Charlie Kirk and Erica Kirk started dating. I bet she pushed him to reach out to Frank Turek. All pre-planned. I tend to believe somebody pushed him in that direction. I doubt very seriously, with all the things Charlie had going on, he's like, wow, that was a really good YouTube video. I should call that guy and ask him if he wants to mentor me. Because that would be like the weirdest thing in the history of the world. And I don't believe in the weirdest thing in the history of the world actually happening. They're all in some way mocking God. They're emotionally and spiritually manipulating the masses to act so innocent, in my opinion. Also, Frank is acting and speaking like he's guilty. Sick of all of them. Anyway, Christ is King. I, too, am sick of all of them for a number of reasons. Only solution to this gaslighting is to depose these clowns. None of them would make it ADHD thought, wonder what runner-up Miss Arizona 2012 thinks. Have you ever seen that? They were like the last 5 or whatever, and they were all huddled around each other. Like, I'm just being objectively honest here. They were way hotter. Just objectively honest. Sermon on the rug. Oh, gosh. I wonder if he can fly on it. It's like a magic carpet. Jason Chaffetz from Utah, is still thinking about running for governor, witnessed Charlie Kirk assassination, immediately interviewed on Fox, was paid commission for helping his friend, Kevin O'Leary, secure the data center project in Utah. Yeah, I've never had a good feeling about that guy. I never have. I know he worked for Trump in the first administration and allegedly did some great stuff, but I never had a good feeling about him. Became a new member tonight, trying to send you a larger super chat because I had some info for you and Daisy. Oh, well, congratulations to the membership. And you had a perfect opportunity right there to share the info. Thank you. I thought BH said they started the security plan August 24th. What have they done? No eyes on site prior to the event? Needed FT to say I don't like it? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Shame on these two gross, cringy, lying liars who lie. Buh. Christ is king indeed. Site, not site. Oh, I didn't hold it against you. I would think it would be funny to do a segment of Barron, the Southern lawyer character, reading mean tweets and various emails you received about being a good Christian, etc. Mostly about being Catholic. People are very disturbed by that. I will say I've never sent an email, a text to anyone deriding their Christian faith because they weren't of one denomination or another. But man, a lot of people have. I get a lot of, have you seen this? Have you checked this out? You should do it. And then some uglier stuff too. So embarrassed. I was an avid listener of Frank Turek. I'm absolutely unlearning the trash, but hoping not to throw out the baby with the bathwater. Now, I will say this. Some of his older videos, particularly his visits overseas to Egypt, I really liked. And I still like him. I watched one not too terribly long ago on a guy who was supposed to be Moses. It was excellent. Sir Barron, I took a pic of a jet descending over my house 513 going to Elizabeth City, North Carolina. U.S. Coast Guard base close to Harvey Point. It was N465FX at Salt Lake City, 99, departed 910. Please look at odd flights. All right, let me look this up real fast. This will be an easy. Daisy, we might have another plane to add to the, no, I'm just kidding. We have added all the Egyptian planes and everything else to that tool. It is really coming together nicely. All right, she has added. She has added. All right, I see your plane here. I see the owner. Let me go back to 9/9 of 2025 and see what Barron sees. Let's start on 9/1, see where all it went. Okay, East Coast, 9/3. 9/4 goes overseas to just outside of London. What city is that? Farnborough. That's 9/4. 9/5 comes back through Maine to Houston. 9/7 goes to Dallas and then Nash Vegas. Should I be concerned? Probably. Goes from from Nashville. Oh, Nashville to Los Angeles on the 8th. Then leaves on the 9th, or the night of the 8th. Goes to Dallas and then Teterboro outside of New York. And then on the night of 9/9 flies to Scottsdale or flies to Phoenix Sky Harbor. Sky Harbor to Vegas, Vegas to Los Angeles on the 10th. Now, this plane never went to Utah. Or if it did, they've changed it. Or you were looking at the wrong date. Chicago, South Florida, New York, D.C., South Bend, Denver, Aspen. Yeah, I can look around on this one. I don't see anything immediately that jumps out at me as weird. I'm still clicking. I get lost in these planes, guys. I don't see anything weird about this plane. But I'll keep it pulled up and I'll look at it. Thanks for the heads up. It's Coke. He can afford it now. Tweets all night. Who? Oh, Blakey. I doubt he's on the Yola. Nose chicken. I think the donors will force Erica out. Someone will replace her. Well, I mean, someone would have to, ideally, if they force her out. Love the opening statement. Back in the day, the doctors used to smoke in the hospital, and the patients flew Trump shuttle smoking on the plane. Cheers, Granddad. Yeah, I remember that. I don't remember doctors smoking in the hospital, but I remember smoking absolutely everywhere. Like you smoked in the mall. It was weird. I'm so excited that Candace is in Russia. My greats, are from Irkutsk, Russia. One day I'll make it to visit Russia. And B, you have me LOL at work. Oh, you're listening at work. May God bless you all. Christ is King. Blake will forever be Fat Boy. His favorite artist is Fat Boy Slim because he's working on the slim part. Thank you, Tama Love. Thank you. Have fun at work. Here's $5 for letting me tell you I got the worst case of pink eye from dog farts and pillows. Feel a little bit like Gary right now. It can happen to you. Permanently change my eyes from brown to green. Michaela, you're a good commenter, so I'm tending to believe what you're saying. I just find it unbelievable. But I'm going to go with it. I'll allow it. Jack Hibbs and others push the mid-1800s doctrine of dispensationalism, the theological vehicle used to smuggle modern Z-ism into the church. That's correct. They do. Greetings from South Carolina. Love you and your show, but I'm low-key jealous of your grandparent status. Well, it can't all be me. My 30, 28, and 26-year-old kiddos are taking their sweet time on procreation. Congrats to you. Well, thank you, Ashley. Hit him with a hot poker. Get on. Get at it. Go. Move. Do something. Put on some Barry White next time they come over. Get them in the mood. What you won't do for love, play something with a saxophone. Fuji and Mountain Valley water has forever chemicals in them. I was heartbroken when I read the study. I think everything has forever chemicals in it, doesn't it? Christ is King indeed. Take my Fuji water from my cold, dead hands. Just discovered this not long ago. And it's delicious. Those forever chemicals are great. And maybe that's what's adding all the delicious flavor. Just moved to Nolansville. Would love to be your wife's hairstylist. Bree Bird's Hair. I'm at a salon in Franklin. Oh, we're in Franklin almost every day, so let me take a note here. There you go. Let me make sure I can read that. Sometimes I take a picture and it's all blurry and I can't read it. Yeah, got it. Bree Vandy. I'll let her know. Please contact your state congressional district rep to voice your concerns over our greatest ally military and the U.S. military joining hands. A simple phone call. Yeah. Lost my husband of 25 years 1 week ago today. He had a massive stroke. Asking for prayers for our family, especially my 2 young grandchildren we are raising, age 9 and 7 months. Christ is King indeed. 1 week ago today, mama of 6. Holy mackerel. Sorry to hear that. I absolutely will pray for you and your family. Thank you for sharing that with us. I'm just a rando with a stick. I always worry because the serious comments get followed up with, I'm just a rando with a stick, and then I laugh, and I don't mean to laugh after that. But yeah, that's absolutely the case. No sheep, just a stick. Anyone claiming #1 Utah fan? Luck? I think I could make a case. I love found you back in September and watch every day since. Love the intelligence, the analysis, and the great humor. Thank you, BJ Hodgie. You're my #1 Utah fan now. We're crediting you. 4-month member. I mean, you got to be towards the top. Search, compare, book, save. The smarter way to rent. Moving just got easier, dirty truck. Don't know what that means. Friend's dad had a precancerous biliary tract tumor removed with surgery. Doctor told him to stop the GLP-1. Doc felt it caused the tumor. Precancerous biliary tract tumor. Biliary tract tumor. Well, that's terrible. If it's causing that's going to be a problem. Those are a particularly tough spot. With regard to Jack's horrible rug, didn't you say all cats are gray in the dark? No, Ben Franklin said that, but he's not wrong. That's a whole feline. I couldn't resist. No, yeah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, Ben Franklin advocated that this is not. I'm not making this up. You guys can go look it up. This is one of our founding fathers, so take it for what it's worth. But he recommended older women for a number of reasons. He had there's a whole long list of reasons why, and he said for those that are concerned about their age, he said all cats are gray in the dark. I commented to Frank on the show, and he responded with, "Don't you know that Candace and Tucker work for Russia?" Did he really? Well, that's just a lie. Edge, Bricks, and Minifigs is a total ripoff. Avoid. Never heard of it. Never heard of it. As a believer in Christ, I've heard of it on the show, when we talked about it. But as a believer in Christ, in the past, I've listened to Pastor Hibbs. The Israel issue turned me off from his content. It's sad that we can read the Bible on our own and no believers in Christ are heirs of the promise. Christ is king indeed. It says it pretty clearly that those who believe in Jesus are the children of Abraham. I thought of Jack as my pastor for 8 years. Jack Hibbs doesn't wear a toupee, and Charlie Kirk used to go to Calvary Chapel quite often to give talks. It may not be a wig. It just looks like one. Hold on. Let me look at some other pictures. Jack Hibbs. Maybe he just was having a bad hair day. Yeah, it doesn't look like a rug in the other pictures. I don't know why he did it that way. Are we sure it's not a rug, actually, the more I look at it? Are we sure? It's a convincing one if it is. I don't know. I'm on the fence. I'm on the fence. I think it might just be a convincing. I'm not. Whether or not he wears a rug is irrelevant to anything I think about his position. I don't care. I'm just having fun. But, my two favorite quotes are now "No screw is worth 1,000" and and big fingers need love too. A prime example of I just say stuff. A prime example of I just say stuff. Yeah. I've been known to just say stuff. Yeah, maybe new merch. No screw. Cheryl, you got a good sense of humor. Baron, nebulized DMSO for your lungs. I've heard of that, and I've heard nebulizing glutathione as well. I've never tried either. I should, though. Nothing hurts more than stepping on a darn Lego. I know. I had to put my 7 and 5-year-old to bed the other night, and they share a room. And I walked in, and there are Legos everywhere. And excuse me. Got a really sharp pain in my head all of a sudden. And I made them pick them up before they went to bed, because what was inevitably going to happen is they were going to wake up in the night and go to the bathroom or something and step on one. And then I was going to have to get up when they screamed and started crying. And so I was like, let's be proactive about this. Let's ease back on the Lego on the floor situation. I don't give a damn. My Big B, my heart grew 333,333 sizes, about 4 sizes bigger than Huckabee's. Petition to keep Huckabee out of Whoville for good. P.S. Wouldn't it be weird if Wynn was in the files and massive scandals? I think Wynn is in the files, at least the old man, Steve. I don't know about the heart growing big. I don't know what you're getting at there, Dom. But I want to know. Thank you. Christ chooses all people. Got only a few. I don't know what that means either. Frank and Jack would call us Orthodox and Catholic Christians idolaters if we spoke of the saints as glowing language as they use for Erica. Yeah, I didn't think about that. Yeah, don't they have a gag order? Yeah, in theory. In theory. Ever notice Frank Turk always gets so excited when he talks about Brian Harpole? It's weird. I'm beginning to think this person is not even Brian Harpole, but possibly some kind of notable disguised as Brian Harpole. Oh, Butch Hibbs. Sorry. Butch Hibbs. I thought you were talking about Brian Harpole. I was like, does he get excited talking about Brian Harpole? I was racking my brain while I was reading the comment. Frank does get excited. He was a big fan of Butch. Maybe he knows Butch had a key role in supporting Charlie that day. Why didn't Butch call his brother? That's a great question. PLS, please read the headlines. Trump using F-bomb at Netanyahu today. You rock. Oh, they have another fake spat. They fake these fights to make people feel like we're not controlled. You're blanking crazy while demanding Lebanon truce. I'm saving your hiney, says Trump. What the blank are you doing? Fake fight. I'll believe it when he cuts him off. Fake and gay. The Asmongold episode on the Lego fresco is hilarious. Well worth the watch. I like Asmongold sometimes. He's funny. Was Jack Hibbs in The Greatest Ally when Charlie got hit? I don't know. He never said quite where he was. Though he did do a video in a backyard somewhere and it looked California-ish, but I don't know. Questions about how they knew Charlie Kirk was gone. Remember, they were all trying for the first time at headquarters. I think they all watched. Oh, they all watched it happen. That's a good question. Because Candace did say that, what's his name? Terrell Farnsworth said they were trying something new for the first time. And they were streaming back to the ops in Arizona. Operatives. But bear on if I could interest you in some Middle Eastern lung health remedies. Frankincense, the edible kind, soaked in water for a couple of days till the water runs white. 10 ounce daily for adults. Frankincense water. I have some. Frankincense? Someone told me to swallow these whole. And I didn't do it. This mastic gum, don't chew it. They said, swallow it. Like break it into little bitty pieces and swallow it, or cut it up into a dust. I haven't tried it yet though. But me being me, I bought 2 packets. Because if it works, I don't want to run out. But that was months ago. I forgot about it till you mentioned that. Is that frankincense? It smells like it. I opened it up and smelled it. It smells like church on Easter, you know? That's what if you're Catholic, you know what I'm smelling. It smells just like church on Easter. Duly noted. Could Victor Mark's friend who was there on 9/10 that called to tell him about CKB Jack Hibbs, since his brother Butch was there? I don't think so, but I don't know why I don't think so. Theology is the driving force. The church has no promise, is saying what Christ did wasn't enough, and by definition would be of the Antichrist spirit. I think a lot of what he says is the Antichrist spirit. Oh, 2 and 2 mixed, 1 to 2 mixed honey, black seed powder, organic seeds, grind at home would be perfect. Mix in a jar, have a tablespoon daily after the frankincense water. Thought I'd share. Christ is king. Jesus loves us all. The problem is if I take black seed oil too often, I get low blood pressure. Every time I stand up, I want to pass out. Take it sparingly. Is our greatest ally a new NWO, New World Order, new empire being set up just under our noses? What motivates Christians to buddy up with those that don't believe? Christ is king indeed. I don't know. I think so. To answer your first question, I do think they're setting up a regional power over there, which is why they want to get rid of Iran. They don't want their regional power bordered by Iran. They already took out Syria. They're working on Lebanon. They've got Iraq taken care of. Saudi Arabia and Egypt seem to be in good graces with them for now. They'll turn on them when they need to, I guess. Jordan, bad news, guys. You're in the way. Probably not going to end well for you. OMG Baron, Frank, EK, and TPUSA fam loved each other. They're Christians, would never lie and conspire. How did we all miss this? Charlie lied to them. I know you were kidding. You didn't even need the JK at the end there. Jay Renana. At your convenience, please review that YouTube titled Doug McGregor, All for What? I find it an important message that should be viewed by all. If I remember, I will. I have very little time to watch stuff people recommend. Like, I watch stuff that I know I want to watch that's on my list of things I want to watch. And then I have to prepare for the show, and then I have to do a show, and I have to sleep, and I have to eat, I have to see my children, I have to go to church, I have to work out, I have to go see my granddaughter. Like, I do a lot. I don't have time to sit around and watch and read everything that's recommended. I'm sorry. But thank you. It's very generous. And I'll, if I come across it, I will remember that you said that. If I come across that video, I'll stop and watch it as long as it's not very long. OMG, you had me laughing so hard about the rug, and I'm still laughing. Here's the best comedy, high IQ in a long time for me. Love you, Baron. Love you, Hope Bean. Hadn't heard from you in a while. Hope you're doing well. And thank you. That's very generous. Baron, I saw Victor Marx's event video and remember his hard-living gravel voice and thinking he was odd for a pastor. Maybe a prison chaplain, if I'm generous. Yeah, well. Or a prisoner. Probably a better fit. Rug Boy said Butch could have asked months ago to meet Charlie Kirk. What date did T.O. request the event? Was it months in advance? Israel searches were months in advance, though. What was the official booking? So the story they give us, the official booking, the request came in on July 18th. I don't know when it was actually planned. I don't know. Here's my favorite joke. Two peanuts walk down the street. One was salted. One was assaulted. Oh, I got it. Also, my daughter, Haley Grace, says hi. We love you, Baron. We love you too, Kristen and Haley Grace. And it's a good joke, not a bad joke. One was assaulted. Love how these people emphasize how the events leading after the assassination were pictured in their minds. Meanwhile, they all stutter while telling their stories. I'm not that dumb, guys. I'm not that dumb either, especially when he forgets his line. Line! Christ is king indeed. There's another guy there dressed exactly like Butch, but he looked younger. Can't remember who posted the video. Strange. Love your show. Christ is king indeed. Yeah, I did a whole show, not a whole show, but a long segment looking at Butch in the different locations and how he seemed to look different from time to time. Frank definitely has the terrapin in him. That's true. It's true. Posted him seminary ago. Semanas? Weeks ago? Former TPUSA employee. Got weird vibes. He seemed standoffish. Maybe because I'm Catholic. I don't think he's a big fan. Feeling lost since leaving, but you always bring me joy, Baron. Christ is king indeed. I didn't know you were a former TPUSA employee. Really free. Now I know. Baron, check out McCoy's Instagram. Third row, middle post. January 1, 1317 in Carousel. Sound on, I will force you guys to gaze upon the revolution. Which McCoy? Rob or Mikey? I believe you. The rug guy. I'm dead. Thanks, B. Laugh so hard, much needed. I try to help. Baron brother from another mother. Thank you for making us united in one high IQ family. Christ is king indeed. Multiple Butch Hibbs characters were at UVU. Also, their interview reminds me of my toddlers trying to play a trick on me. 4 months sober today. Congratulations, Katie. Love yoga. Congratulations. Make it 5 months next month and let me know how it's going. Christ is king indeed. If you can make it 4 months, you can make it the rest of your life. Sent you an email with an interesting data point from a Homeland Security conference. Thank you for all you do. That would have been a perfect time to tell me the interesting data point. I would have been much more likely to read it. My husband asked if I ever got tired of hearing your voice, and I said, absolutely not. I would never. I love being a part of this high IQ outfit. I've learned so much these past 9 months. You tell your husband to get in shape. Get in line, brother. No, I'm just kidding. You better tighten up. Hey, Baron, had to step out a bit tonight. Did I miss the photo of the kids in that EK whereabouts photo, or is that for another show? Yeah, Christ is King indeed. About that photo. So I've run this photo, not the actual photo, but I've talked about the photo to about 10 different people who host shows on YouTube, shows you've heard of. 100% of them said, do not show the photo. And I said, but it's not her kids. I'm confident. I know it's not her kids. I also have pictures of her kids. Like, I could show you the photo and I could show you the pictures of her kids. I will not do that because I'm not going to invade her privacy. But they said, you don't understand. She's going to say those are her kids, and you can't prove they're not. And they're going to nuke you. Like, they'll take your channel down. And I thought, oh, that's a really good point. So I've decided I'm going to put it on X at some point. So I will announce when I do that. It's not going to be tonight, but I will do that very soon. Maybe tomorrow. I'm going to put it on X. I'm not going to put her kids up there, but I probably am going to put an edited version of a particularly distinguishing characteristic of one of her children. Maybe not, though. I don't know. I haven't decided that. Maybe I'll just describe the distinguishing characteristic and show you that it's not present on that picture. I have to figure out how I'm going to tackle it. But I can state with 100% certainty, the picture where she's got the oversized finger over the kids' faces, those aren't her kids. Those aren't her kids. I mean, if they are, I've been totally duped. But I don't think those are her kids. I think they've already admitted the boy is not, but I don't think the girl is either. I think I can prove it. Christ is King indeed. Isn't Candace selling some nicotine products now? Yeah. Knickknacks. Knickknack, like Tic Tac, but for nicotine. I actually got this at her house. I was walking by and I noticed like a wheelbarrow amount of nicotine tablets. And I was like, do you mind? Do you mind? They're actually really good. This is not a paid product endorsement. I don't recommend anybody buy it. Nicotine's harmful, whatever. But yeah, so I make nothing off of it. I don't care. But I think that's the brand she was selling. Hey, Baron, congrats, Granddad. Well, thank you. I went back and looked at Candace's show with the call logs that EK gave CO. Hibbs is not in Mikey McCoy's immediate call logs after the muck duck. Thank you for all you do. Christ is King indeed. That's actually a really good point. I hadn't thought to do that myself, so thank you for doing that. Proud Louisiana. I know you're not a TikTok fan, but their live option is awesome. Maybe that'd be good for a call-in show. I can't imagine I would last very long on TikTok with my opinions. They tend to ban people like me. But thank you. Baron, please join me in prayer for my mom, Donna. She's suffering with severe neuropathy. I'm asking God for healing, relief from her pain, restful sleep, strength, peace, and that He may bring her comfort and restoration. In Jesus' name, amen. Thank you, Samantha. I will join you in that prayer. Pray for all those things and more. And more. Real General Lee from my hometown, big on book. Christ is King indeed. The real General Lee is from your hometown. Is that what you're saying? I think that's what you're saying. Charlie Kirk, last interview with Doug Wilson. Please listen to his own words at minute 28. You and Candace diss his book as Shabbat Shalom, and not his words, but has nothing to do with alliance to our greatest ally. So good. Can't post link. I think I have listened to that podcast. I think what he said was it was like a day of rest and restoration, right? If I got it wrong, then I'll correct me. Sir Baron, do you think people were trying to clean up the microphone mess that was all over Charlie Kirk on route to the hospital? That's why it took so long, even though it was only 2 miles away. I don't know why it took so long, but it's literally right there. Not far at all. It shouldn't take 15 minutes to get there. I mean, 15 minutes if you're running, maybe on foot. Family history of COPD. Myself and son has asthma, both on Singulair and Symbicort. I'm also on Dupexiant injection. You need a new medication plan. Yeah, probably. Why was Tom Artyom Alexandrovich allowed to return home following his arrest in U.S. on child charges. Well, you know why. Come on. Just know where home is. Regarding plane, Farnborough Airport is the UK's premier airport dedicated to the business of aviation. Occasionally accommodates military and royal flights. Oh. Well, maybe that plane is more interesting than I thought. I've still got it pulled up. I'll go back and look at some more. I don't believe in squib theory either. I was just excited about the wig. Well, then I forgive you. And please forgive me. I know you're alert. I know that from your username. Higgs and squib wordplay, and you ruined it for me. No, I did not ruin it. It was brilliant. Thank you. Thank you, Amber. Brilliant. Okay. Not like you pulled a bear today. I did. I apologize. Edge, Frank Shepard's Cavalry Tucson. Big stick. Frank Turek, Cavalry Tucson. I don't think that's true. I thought he lived in New Jersey or something. No, he doesn't pastor for Cavalry Tucson. No, he just spoke there. I think he just spoke there. I don't think he pastors it. If I'm wrong, I'm open to correction. Heard about bricks and minifigs, LDS situation. Look up Reckless Ben. Yeah, it's been recommended. When you're reading a joke, please don't break out laughing before finishing the sentence. That's your only flaw. I can't help it. I start laughing. I can't help it. You guys crack me up. Sometimes I crack myself up. That's a big flaw. Would love a ladies' t-shirt that says everyone needs a daisy and a pretty daisy image. I think there is one, isn't there? If I'm not mistaken. Go to realbaronpodcast.com. We shall look. Merch. Merch. View all. Scroll down. I got a Befuddles by Daffodils t-shirt. I've got a Get a Daisy. That's a unisex, though, not ladies. Maybe that's the complaint. We'll work on it. Man, the merch is good. That's good merch. If you haven't checked it out, realbaronpodcast.com. Click view all. There's only a few that show up on the first page. Have you heard of the Chosen People? Of course I have. Late to the party. Was the 50-minute phone call a Hail Mary to get Charlie to change his mind on our greatest ally? So someone could call off the event the next day? Maybe. I don't know. It is a rug. Oh, well, so now we're having a disagreement here, folks. It's an inter-family communication issue. Behind on the live, but had to pop in before it ended to request a up to my armpit in hope shirt. Yeah. BTI, Bacillus thuringiensis israeliensis, is in the mosquito sprays in my city, and I've had a horrible parasitic infection since the day I was sprayed 21 months ago. I have evidence. It sounds scary based on the last word. I don't know what's in it. Is that even a real thing, or did you just say that? Are you just saying stuff? Bacillus thuringiensis israelensis. All right, looking it up. Oh, wow, it is a real thing. Naturally occurring soil bacterium used globally as a highly targeted biological larvicide. Control mosquito, black fly, and fungus gnat populations without harming humans, pets, birds, or beneficial insects. There you go. I had no idea, and I have no idea. Sounds like you might be onto something. B, my first chat was too soon. Silence, prideful. Oh. Love your show. Baron, sending much love from Australia, mate. Thank you. Christ is king indeed. Christ is king indeed, mate. I can't do that word. I don't know that word in Australian. Granddad Baron, you've never said to move out of Naperville, Illinois, the other day. That's correct. I didn't. But I noticed so many data sitters came in, ran to the Appalachian Mountains. Oh. Christ is king indeed. Keep going, Max. Well, for now, there are none there, so you're safe for now. Have you or Candace spoken to Jason Chaffetz? I cannot speak for her. I have not. Said he was at the event with his kids. Was on Fox all afternoon talking about it that day, but I haven't seen or heard anything from him since. God bless Christ is King indeed. That's probably because he's running for office or planning on it. Doesn't know which side to take. You guys leave Jack Hibbs and his hair transplant rug alone. Oh, gosh, we're getting threatened by Shalana. If you want to see a good hair transformation, check out Elon Musk hair before and after. Does he have a rug or did he get transplanted? Elon Musk hair before and after. Oh, well, they did a tidy job, didn't they? Wow. He's got a full mane. I guess if you're worth $500 billion, I bet Blake Neff is just beside himself with envy. Beside himself. 2 weeks and 11 years clean. Had PT today. Still hate it. Moon Goddess, don't give up on that PT. One day you'll look back and laugh. But good. 2 weeks to 11 years clean. Almost there. Let me know when you get there. We'll celebrate. Section 224 of the House 2027 NDAA is terrifying. Yep, we've talked about it many times. Call your reps. Oh, and I'm your biggest Alaska fan. No, ma'am. You're now third. I got bad news. The line. Yeah, get in line. Now, if you guys want to rumble in the line, that's your business. Your business. Lena Marie. Sudden sharp pain, talking Legos. Reminder to take deep look at Lego story, please. Well, trust me, I'm going to. I'm intrigued. I follow you, Charlie Kirk, faithfully. Past few days, this Lego story. You're good at. I'll look at it. I didn't know about it until the comments. Mike McCoy's Instagram, third row, middle post, 1317 carousel. Blake Sneff says to Mikey McCoy and Charlie Kirk, I'll force you guys to gaze upon the revolution. So it's Mikey McCoy's Instagram. Mikey McCoy Instagram. On the gram. All right, I got it pulled up here. Scotland. Let's see here. Third row, middle post. Is it the one that starts Erica Kirk takes the stage at Megyn Kelly's tour stop? Because that doesn't sound right. I don't see any carousel there. I don't see any carousels anywhere. I don't see. The problem with rows is I can make it 3, 2, 4, 5. I mean, it just depends on how big it is. I don't see any carousels anywhere in this. I'd love to hear him say that he's forcing me to gaze upon the revolution. Kind of scared of that, frankly. Yeah, I don't know, man. Need a medicine update. According to my commenters, Baron pulled a Baron. I'll allow it. Thank you, Moon Goddess. It's been known to happen. It won't happen again. If you believe that, you'll believe anything. I did a search and see that there's been a lot of chatter for several years on whether Jack wears a rug. Oh, good. I'm not alone. I knew I wasn't alone. I got my eyes on you, Hibbs. Got my eyes on you. You lie like a rug. Oh, did that hit too close to home? I'll pull it all out. I'll say, I'm going on a magic carpet ride. See how he responds, you know? Hey, Jack, I got an industrial fan. I'm about to turn on. See what he says? Like if he does this, then we'll know. Industrial fan? We'll know. Frank first said that he handed Charlie the phone to show him the crowd. Now he's saying Charlie handed him the phone. I always thought they scanned Charlie's face for whatever reason. Face for whatever was getting to take him out. Oh. Scanned his face. What does that mean? No one pulls off a head rug like James Trafficant. Let me tell you something. I don't know if I showed this on the member show. One of the members of the jury or the grand jury sent me one of the most amazing t-shirts I've ever owned. And it's sitting in my closet, and I cannot wait for the perfect day to pull it out. It is a James Traficant for President 1988 shirt. I don't know who sent it. I did know. It's actually, I've got the tag over there. Thank you. Thank you, whoever that was. It's amazing, and I cannot wait to pull that bad boy off. James Traficant was an American gem. I did not agree with him on very much of his politics, but that doesn't mean I didn't like him. I'm not one of those people that if you don't have perfect politics, I hate you. I agreed with him a great deal on a lot of stuff. But a lot of stuff I disagree with him a great deal. But man, what a head of hair that guy had. If you guys don't know who James Traficant is, I'll show you. Yeah, this will do it. Just pull up his Google image page. Behold the glory, ladies and gentlemen. Look at that. Look at that. James Traficant was worried about nothing. Nothing. If you'll wear that rug in that condition, you have no fears of anything. No fears of anything. They should have elected him in 88. Could not have been worse than what we ended up with. I guarantee you we wouldn't have gone to war in the Persian Gulf there. My Baroni dog. The photo also does not prove EF is even with those kids at the time of her finger. Why is that overlooked? Am I missing something? No. You're missing nothing. You're missing nothing. You're missing a bad alibi that is falling apart by the day. It can fall apart a lot when I post that picture. 8th post. Mikey McCoy. Oh, 8th post. Okay, I've still got to pull it up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So for me, that's second row. No, and there's still nothing. Oh, I got to scroll here. I don't see him saying anything about beholding the revolution. I'll have to find it later now that I know what the post is. There's a whole bunch of videos and stuff. But now that I know, I'll look. Oh, that's what you meant by carousel, meaning you got to scroll through the carousel. See, I thought you were talking about like a guy standing on a horse. Unless you tell me he's a big horse guy. 13 of 17 in the carousel. Now I get it. Now I got to count and all that. Count with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's just a static image. I think we're all screwed up. Hey, we tried, guys. We tried. Good job, us. Good job, us. BTI is a live bacteria that kills mosquito cells. Very small. Human damage study. It damaged my cells badly. How can we stop this attack by our greatest ally? Is it attacked by our greatest ally? Christ is healing me. He is king indeed. It's the greatest ally is the one putting it out? I don't understand that. Please watch in 46599 flight path. I did, didn't I? In 456. You don't have the suffix there. There should be at least one, maybe two initials after that 456. You told me FX, right? That's what I looked up. If I'm missing it, maybe we have the tail number wrong. I know I'm late. I had to finish last night's vid as a hair replacement specialist, IMO. That is indeed a very bad rug. A hair replacement specialist. That's a lot of words for saying rug doctor. What do? I'm a rug doctor. Dr. Rug to you, plebes. Speaking of fake hair, IMHO, Erica's hair is real. Why would someone pay thousands for a nappy extensions with brown roots? Fake blonde, real hair, IMO. I agree. And the brush she should use is also real. The brush she should run through that hair every now and then is also real. Also real. Humble host, love you, but no, I don't believe you won't do it again, no matter how much you try to convince us. Smells like bull butter. But again, I'll allow it. Moon Goddess, I'm trying my best out here. You know, I'm trying my best. Lego scandal involves $200,000 Star Wars collection stolen by Bricks and Minifig store. Yeah, I know. I read the story. We still got it pulled up, don't I? Yeah. Right here. I read like the first 3 paragraphs. In Oregon, their corporate office is in Utah. Now they corrupt cops there, helping them get away with it. Crazy story. Oh, now I see the Utah connection. Crazy cops. Seems like a pattern out there in Ute. Has Hibbs been to Turkey? I don't know. Learned thousands of American men go there for hair implants every year because it's cheaper. Oh, I did not know that. Seriously, B, look up pics of men in planes returning with bandages on their heads. Hilarious to see. I don't fault anyone for going and getting plugs. Have at it. And if they're cheap in Turkey, why would they be so cheap over there? What makes it cheaper in Turkey? They got like a whole host of plugs. Don't you have to use your own or they'll kick them out or something? I don't know how it works. It's real. This right here is real. You can now. I challenge Jack Hibbs to a hair pulling contest. Jack, give it a tug. On the condition I can tug yours, sir. Your hair. I'll get a handful and just yank. They'll think I'm hitting on him. He'll be like, whoa, I'm not into that. Well, if you've asked me to look something up, I will try to remember. I cannot guarantee I will. If you've enjoyed this program, as a few of you have, how many of you have you? Okay, we're getting better. A few of you still have not, but hitting the button's easy. Go hit the like button. If you're watching on TV, I don't know how to tell you how to get there, but I'm sure it's some kind of option or menu or something. Click, and then like. I would appreciate it. Helps the channel move up the YouTube algorithm, and that exposes us to more people like you who could be part of our community. If you have not subscribed, or if you don't know whether you're still subscribed, you believe you're subscribed, but you don't know, go check. A lot of people are being unsubscribed. I'm getting a lot of messages as I mentioned this of people saying they had to resubscribe. They knew for a fact they were subscribed. If you want to be a member, check that out. Still efforting a particular guest for tomorrow. If not, we're going to have a great time solo. But I think I will have that person. We'll get a time worked out. If not, if I don't do a member show tomorrow, I'll do a regular show, and then I'll do the member show Friday. But either tomorrow or Friday will be a member show. So if you're not a member, it's a great way to support the program. The members, YouTube really values channels that have a lot of members. They give them priority lane usage. So every member helps. And again, independent media, we don't run we don't do ads. I don't do ad reads and stuff. I'm not knocking people who do. It's a great way to fund your program. But my channel's almost exclusively listener funded. And so the membership, even if you don't have time to catch that extra show, does help. It does help to join the membership, and YouTube, like I said, they smile a lot on channels that have good sized memberships. In the meantime, ladies and gentlemen, I have to tell you, in case you've forgotten, some of you might have. Jesus loves you. He does. He does indeed. As does your humble host, if I may be so bold as to proclaim that. Obviously not as much as love is perfect. Mine is flawed and human, but I do love you, and I appreciate you joining me. I look forward to seeing you very, very soon. Have a wonderful night. Have a wonderful evening. Have a wonderful morning. Have a wonderful afternoon, whatever time you're listening. If you need to catch a replay, you can watch it on YouTube. You can watch it on Spotify. Both excellent options to watch a replay. Some of you find one platform more agreeable than another for various reasons. Pick the one that works best for you. And I will see you guys tomorrow or Wednesday, depending on your status. See you then.